The starting reward, $1 billion hotel. How about 500,000 to buy a year of your youth? A beautiful rich woman coveted Su Xuan's beauty and offered a price. No. Su Xuan refused. 800,000. No. Then 1 million, a car, a house, plus my still charming self, isn't that enough? Sister, don't be like this. Su Xuan wanted to cry but had no tears. Chapter 1, starting with a super 5-star hotel. Here's 500,000. Be with me for a year, how about it? In the Dragon Hua mansion community in the capital, a beautiful wealthy woman pulled a delivery guy named Su Xuan into a room and made her offer. The reason she wanted to keep Su Xuan was simple: he was too handsome. His features were exquisitely chiseled, with a cold and mysterious aura. He often wore a defiant, carefree smile at the corner of his lips, which was completely different from the delicate young men she was used to. The moment she saw him, she was deeply captivated. No way. Su Xuan shook his head as he looked at the wealthy woman. He used to work in a decent company, earning a salary of 10,000 to 20,000 a month. But after he couldn't bear the excessive attention from female bosses and colleagues trying to take advantage of him, he resigned and became a delivery guy. What he sought was freedom and a carefree life, not to be kept by a rich woman. 800,000. The woman, unaware of Su Xuan's past suffering, raised her beautifully maintained face and increased the offer. In her eyes, there was nothing money couldn't buy. That included men. No. Su Xuan still shook his head. Then what about this? The woman took out a BMW car key and handed it to Su Xuan, even teasingly brushing her fingers against his hand. A huge sum of money, plus a good car, and herself still charming. Surely a delivery guy like him had no reason to refuse now, right? Stop messing around, sister. I already have a girlfriend. Bye. Su Xuan tossed the car key back to the woman and turned to leave. I'll give you a 100 square meter apartment too. Still not enough. Looking at Su Xuan's retreating figure, the woman frowned. She had heard a saying before. Men are not loyal because of love, but because the price of betrayal isn't high enough. Now, with the stakes she was offering, no man could resist betrayal. Just give me a 5-star rating, and we're good. Su Xuan casually threw the words out and left without looking back. I'll give you a bad review. You make me so mad. The woman stomped her foot in anger. But in the end, she didn't leave a bad review. He was too handsome. She couldn't bring herself to do it. Why do women always focus on my looks and not my inner qualities? This really hurts me, inside and out. Riding his tricycle, Su Xuan left Dragon Hua Mansion with a troubled look on his face. Ding, detected hostess emotional distress, super delivery system initiating. Ding, system successfully loaded. Ding, detected that the host has completed a super delivery task. Reward, a super 5-star hotel, the Ricard Hotel. Huh? What's going on? Su Xuan blinked in confusion. He had been bound to a system because of his emotional distress. And now he has been rewarded with a hotel? A super 5-star Ricard Hotel? As a delivery guy, he naturally knew about Ricard Hotel. It was a landmark building worth over $1 billion, a favorite spot for the wealthy, offering top-notch food, presidential suites, and entertainment and fitness facilities. Staying there was like living in heaven. If it weren't for the domestic rule that the highest rating for a hotel was 5 stars, Ricard would definitely be a 7-star hotel. And now, the Ricard Hotel was his. What did that mean? Beep beep. Just then, his phone vibrated. The caller ID showed Zhang Tingting. She was a girl he had met last week through a blind date. This girl's morals and looks didn't meet his standards. But since she was introduced by a familiar elder, he didn't want to offend the elder, so he reluctantly agreed to date her for a while. He knew it was just a matter of time before they broke up, and he was waiting for the right opportunity. Su Xuan, what are you doing? Zhang Tingting asked indifferently after the call connected. Oh. Su Xuan sighed. Just delivered a package. Sigh. Zhang Tingting let out a deep sigh. Come to the front of the Ricard Hotel right now. I need to talk to you. Before Su Xuan could say anything, she hung up the phone. Such a coincidence. She wants to meet at Ricard. Well, I'll go check it out. Su Xuan thought about going to their hotel to check things out, so he hopped on his delivery tricycle and headed for the Ricard Hotel. 20 minutes later. Su Xuan, are you coming to meet me? Even if you didn't have time to change clothes, you couldn't take a cab. Zhang Tingting stood at the entrance of Ricard Hotel, her face turning cold as she saw Su Xuan riding a tricycle in his delivery uniform. The road was blocked. It's faster on a tricycle, Su Xuan replied, parking the tricycle and walking toward her. He noticed Zhang Tingting looked different today. She usually didn't wear makeup, but today, she had put on a delicate makeup that made her look significantly better. She was carrying a new luxury bag, probably worth at least 10,000 yuan, while she worked as a receptionist at a small company with a monthly salary of only 3,000 yuan. Su Xuan, the reason I called you here is to lay it all out. Zhang Tingting flipped her hair and suddenly said, "Lay it out? Then go ahead." Su Xuan replied, "I met someone. He is a successful person. Look at this Ricard Hotel. He works here as a marketing supervisor with a salary of 300,000 a year. Yesterday, he bought me this bag and said he liked me. When I compare him to you, the only thing you have over him is your looks. You don't have any other advantages. Su Xuan, material wealth is the foundation of relationships. Do you understand what I mean?" As she spoke, Zhang Tingting pointed proudly at the luxurious Ricard Hotel. "Yeah, I get it," Su Xuan shrugged. "Then I guess this is the end for us. What a great day today." Not only did he get a system, but he also got rid of a girl he didn't like. Sigh. Hearing Su Xuan voluntarily end their relationship, Zhang Tingting sighed with regret. Su Xuan was really too handsome. If he were also rich, she would never let him go, no matter what. Ricard, a super 5-star hotel. With that, Su Xuan didn't even look at Zhang Tingting anymore. He murmured to himself as he walked into the Ricard Hotel. "Su Xuan, what do you think you're doing?" When Zhang Tingting saw Su Xuan heading into the Ricard Hotel, she immediately misunderstood. She grabbed his arm urgently and said, "Are you trying to cause trouble for my new boyfriend? Don't be impulsive. If you break anything inside, even just a wine glass, there is no way you, a delivery guy, can afford to pay for it. Oh, my boyfriend is coming out." Just then, a man in a suit and leather shoes walked out of the Ricard Hotel's revolving door, standing arrogantly in front of Su Xuan. He waved his hand at Zhang Tingting and said, "Tingting, you don't need to hold him back. Let him cause trouble. I'm curious to see how he'll make a scene." As soon as he finished speaking, several burly security guards, holding electric batons, stormed out from behind the man and surrounded Su Xuan. Meanwhile, in a luxurious office on the highest floor of the hotel, Ricard has a new owner. The hotel's general manager, Liu Ming, trembled as he held a share transfer document. Just recently, all their hotel's shareholders had transferred their shares to one person, Su Xuan. And Liu Ming, the general manager, was merely employed by the shareholders. He worked for Ricard. So now, Su Xuan was not only the new owner of Ricard, but also Liu Ming's new boss. This news was so sudden. Liu Ming had the chance to inform everyone in the hotel yet. He grabbed the phone, dialed the number on the document, and humbly said, "Hello, Mr. Su Xuan? This is Manager Liu from Ricard Hotel. Chapter 2, Being Rich is Truly Enjoyable. Is this Mr. Su Xuan? What? You're already at the front of the Li Ka Hotel. Please hold on, I'll come to greet you immediately." Upon learning that Su Xuan had arrived, Liu Ming, the general manager of the Li Ka Hotel, hurriedly stood up and rushed out. He also didn't forget to instruct his secretary to initiate the VIP reception process. At the hotel entrance. "Hey, you called someone, huh? What can a delivery guy like you even get? Make sure you understand, this is Li Ka, and I'm the marketing supervisor here. I'm not someone you can afford to offend." The man in the suit didn't know about the change in ownership of Li Ka. Seeing Su Xuan on the phone and mentioning his location, he mistakenly thought Su Xuan was calling for reinforcements. "Su Xuan, stop messing around. Let us part ways on good terms. Leave here quickly. I don't want to see you being carried to the hospital." Zhang Tingting stood next to the man in the suit, casting an unhappy glance at Su Xuan. But deep down, she was actually quite pleased. Two men were fighting over her, showing how remarkable she was. "You guys are really boring." Su Xuan didn't care about the two of them. He rubbed his forehead in exasperation. Then, he looked up at the long LCD screen installed on the hotel's front gate. At first, the screen displayed a welcoming message for hotel guests. But now it had changed. It now read, "Welcome to Li Ka's sole shareholder, chairman, and CEO, Mr. Su Xuan, for your inspection." The hotel's reception process had clearly been activated. Moreover, they even gave him several titles. How ostentatious. Huh? What's going on? Zhang Tingting looked up at the screen as well and was instantly stunned. Su Xuan, the sole shareholder, chairman, and CEO of Li Ka. How could that be? This must be a coincidence. Su Xuan was just a delivery guy, earning barely 7,000 to 8,000 a month. How could Li Ka be his? Yes, it had to be a coincidence. Suddenly, a middle-aged man with an imposing aura stormed out from their hotel door. "Hello, Manager Liu." As soon as the guards saw the man, they immediately saluted and stepped aside. It was Liu Ming, the general manager of Li Ka. "Hello, Manager Liu." The man in the suit quickly bowed and greeted Liu Ming with a fawning smile. "Where's Mr. Su?" Liu Ming ignored the others and began searching for Su Xuan. The equity transfer documents contained a photo of Su Xuan, and Liu Ming had memoized his face. The next moment, he spotted Su Xuan standing calmly nearby. His expression changed in surprise. How could the man who acquired Li Ka be wearing a delivery uniform? But he didn't have time to think. Immediately, he wiped his hands on his expensive suit and extended them toward Su Xuan. "Good day, Mr. Su." He shook Su Xuan's hand enthusiastically, not letting go. Then, a group of Li Ka's senior management came rushing out of the hotel, having been notified by Liu Ming's secretary. "Quick, greet our new boss, Mr. Su." Liu Ming immediately gestured for the senior managers. "Hello, Mr. Su." "Hello, Mr. Su." "Welcome, Mr. Su, the sole shareholder, chairman, and CEO of Li Ka, for your inspection." The senior managers hurriedly bowed and greeted him, echoing the words displayed on the screen. Their voices united, shaking the air with a loud, resounding chorus. The beautiful female secretary was also there. Tall and slender, with a stunning 95-point appearance, she couldn't take her eyes off Su Xuan, her gaze filled with admiration. She hadn't expected Su Xuan to be so handsome. He looked like a star straight out of TV. Gasp! The man in the suit couldn't help but suck in a breath, feeling dizzy. What had he gotten himself into? Had he offended Li Ka's sole owner? His body swayed, and he nearly fainted. Even Zhang Tingting lost her composure. Her lips trembled as she stared at Su Xuan in shock. It was real. All of this was really happening. Su Xuan was the actual owner of Li Ka. He was here to inspect the hotel's operations. She completely misjudged him, thinking he was just a poor guy. And what was even more ridiculous, she had almost abandoned him for a small-time marketing manager at Li Ka. She had made a huge mistake. "Su Xuan, darling." Zhang Tingting suddenly rushed forward, tightly linking her arm with his, pressing herself against him, and sweetly murmured, "Darling, you're so funny. You were just playing with me, hiding your wealth." Oops. Chen Jixing, didn't I just see you, surrounding Mr. Su? Taking advantage of Zhang Tingting showing affection, Liu Ming turned to the man in the suit and coldly asked. That man was Chen Jixing. "Manager Liu, this. Even though Chen Jixing was sharp, he couldn't think of a way to explain what had just happened. His face drained of color, and he looked like a corpse. "Chen Jixing has offended us." Zhang Tingting suddenly pointed at him. "I came here with my husband to inspect the hotel, and not only did he refuse to let us in, but he also arrogantly asked me to be his girlfriend and tried to get security to hit my husband. This is too much." Hearing this, Liu Ming was shocked, and his body involuntarily shuddered. Then, he exploded with fury. It wasn't just Liu Ming. All the senior management at Li Ka were equally enraged. Chen Jixing, oh Chen Jixing. They were all terrified of failing to please Mr. Su. And you? You're a cow basking in the sun, flaunting your success. You're a cow flying on a plane, showing off in the sky. Liu Ming waved at the security guards, shouting. Beat Chen Jixing to a pulp. I'll take responsibility if anything happens. He is no longer part of Li Ka. Before his words were even fully out, the security guards, fearing being implicated, immediately rolled up their sleeves and rushed forward, knocking Chen Jixing to the ground with a series of loud thuds. Arg tilde arg tilde. Manager Liu, Mr. Su, you can beat me, even cripple me. But I have a family to support, please don't kick me out of Li Ka, please. Please. Arg. Chen Jixing cried and begged, hoping there was still a chance for redemption. But soon, he fell silent, lying motionless on the ground, blood pouring from his nose and mouth like vibrant, blooming peach blossoms. He has a family. Zhang Tingting muttered, he never mentioned he had a wife and kids. Zhang Tingting. Su Xuan pushed her off his arm and said coldly, stop focusing on material things when looking for a partner. Life is short, and when you're on your deathbed, you'll often remember not money, but sincere relationships. I hope you understand this lesson. Now, leave. Zhang Tingting didn't want to leave. Su Xuan glanced at the security guards who were wiping the blood off their fists and said, do you want to end up like him? With her head lowered, Zhang Tingting carried her expensive but now tarnished luxury bag and walked away. Su Xuan looked at her dejected figure and then at the hotel staff who were looking at him with admiration, smiling. But while we're alive, being rich really is enjoyable. The beautiful female secretary secretly gazed at Su Xuan, her heart fluttering. She silently thought to herself. Mr. Su is not only handsome. He is also so manly when dealing with women. I really like him. Chapter 3, Billion-Dollar Supercar. Next, Su Xuan stepped onto the red carpet, surrounded by a crowd, and entered the Liker Hotel. He wasn't particularly fond of the hotel's lavish decor, so he couldn't be bothered to admire it much. Mr. Su's background must be absolutely terrifying. He seems so indifferent to the hotel he just bought. If Liker were mine, I'd be grinning in my sleep every night. But as the crowd observed Su Xuan's behavior, they couldn't help but sigh and marvel at his nonchalance. Liu Ming, especially, became even more humble in front of Su Xuan. Anyone who could casually buy a hotel like Liker certainly had an overwhelming fortune, and their connections must be equally impressive. Such a person was not someone he could ever reach, let alone offend. He had to serve Su Xuan well. 20 minutes later, Su Xuan finally finished touring Liker. He then held a meet and greet with the senior management in the conference room. He didn't have much to say. He simply told them, do well at Liker. As long as you help me manage it well, I won't treat you unfairly. A little salary increase? No problem. More bonuses? That's fine too. Mr. Su is so generous and dignified. Liker is my home now. I'll follow Mr. Su for the rest of my life. I'm willing to dedicate the last second of my life to Liker, to Mr. Su. The employees had not seen a salary raise in ages, so hearing about a potential increase excited them all, their voices changing pitch, looking at Su Xuan with more warmth and affection than their own parents. He is so young, so handsome, so charismatic. If only he could be my boyfriend. I'd gladly serve him for life, wash his feet, wash his socks, have his children. Liu Ming's beautiful secretary, whose looks were stunning and who was adored by many men, couldn't help but lick her soft lips as she stared at Su Xuan. Xiao Li. Seeing the secretary's subtle action, Liu Ming smiled and leaned in to whisper, would you be willing to be Mr. Su's personal secretary? I. The secretary nervously rubbed the corner of her clothes, lowering her head shyly. Yes, I'd like to. After the meeting, Liu Ming, noticing that Su Xuan seemed a little tired, arranged an extravagant post-meeting meal for him. Fine wine, airlifted seafood, gourmet desserts, everything one could ask for. After the meal, Liu Ming took Su Xuan to the hotel's sauna room to help him relax. When Su Xuan went to change clothes, Liu Ming quietly left. He. Su Xuan, in a bathrobe, steamed in the sauna, with a Filipino massage therapist kneading his shoulders. Her technique was quite good. He closed his eyes and murmured, the life of the wealthy is indeed quite boring. System. He then called out to the system, asking, after activating the God-level delivery system, am I going to deliver packages for the rest of my life? Beep. Delivering packages is just the beginner phase of the system. As long as the host completes 10 super deliveries, the system will automatically upgrade to the next level, allowing the host to experience other fun aspects of life. And with each system upgrade, the rewards will become more varied, not just limited to money and material possessions. Currently, the host has completed 110 of the super deliveries. Upon hearing the system's response, Su Xuan nodded in satisfaction. Suddenly, he noticed something was off. He quickly opened his eyes. The Filipino therapist, who had been massaging his shoulders, was gone. In her place was a graceful girl, Liu Ming's secretary, Li Ranran. She had changed out of her professional attire and was now wearing a thin, white bikini. Her skin was fair, and she looked like a fashionable version of Snow White. She even had a pleasant fragrance about her. Mr. Su, he. Seeing Su Xuan open his eyes, Li Ranran began massaging his shoulders, smiling sweetly as she asked, "Is the massage comfortable?" "Oh." Su Xuan furrowed his brows. "It's all right. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Su." Li Ranran smiled even sweeter. "I specially trained in this skill, and this is my first time massaging a man." "Oh, what kind of technique is this?" "Japanese style." "Never massaged Liu Ming before." "No, I'm just his work secretary, not responsible for his personal life." Li Ranran suddenly lowered her voice. "Mr. Su, don't misunderstand my relationship with Liu Ming. Here's a secret: Liu Ming doesn't he actually like women. He has a physical condition." Cough. Su Xuan couldn't help but cough twice. He hadn't expected Liu Ming, who looked so masculine, to have such a secret. "Mr. Su, I'm no longer Liu Ming's secretary," Li Ranran continued. "He asked me to become your secretary, to take care of your work and your personal life." As she spoke, Li Ranran suddenly slipped, her delicate body softly pressing against Su Xuan, becoming his real personal secretary and not getting up for a long time. "Are you going to stay like this?" Su Xuan placed his hand on her slender waist. "Oh." Li Ranran blushed, stammering. She didn't even know why she suddenly felt like this. It was as though a voice in her head was controlling her, urging her to get closer to Su Xuan, to take advantage of such a man. If she didn't, it would be a loss. "I'm not Liu Xiaohui. You have the looks, but if you keep doing this, I won't be able to resist. Just know that after the fun, I won't take responsibility." Su Xuan's tone was smooth and pleasant, yet very calm. "Sorry, I was reckless, Mr. Su." Li Ranran raised her body, suppressing the voice in her head, and started massaging with more focus, showing off her Japanese-style technique. She understood one thing. A man would never truly like a woman who was too easy. If she wanted Su Xuan's heart, she couldn't rely on her body. She genuinely liked him. "I almost forgot, I have an urgent delivery left to make. It's about to be late." A few minutes later, Su Xuan stretched his body, thanked Li Ranran for her efforts, and went to the changing room to put on his delivery uniform. I really loved delivering packages. Now that he knew the system could upgrade, letting him experience a better life and earn more colorful rewards, Su Xuan became full of energy. Then, he quietly, and very low-key, left the hotel. "Mr. Su, hello. Mr. Su, you're my idol." Despite his low-key exit, some employees at Liker still spotted him, and their voices buzzed in his ears. "My dear tricycle, I've missed you." Once he exited the hotel and approached his tricycle, Su Xuan finally smiled. But when he pulled out the nearly overdue package and saw the recipient's name, he couldn't help but chuckle. What a coincidence! The recipient was none other than Li Ranran. He had no choice but to call Li Ranran. A few minutes later, Li Ranran appeared before him, as happy as a butterfly, eagerly receiving the package. Beep. "Congratulations, host, you've completed a super delivery." Beep. "Host receives a reward, $1 billion supercar, a Koenigsegg." Beep. "The car keys are now in the hostess pocket." Beep. "Super delivery task progress, 210. Su Xuan reached into his pocket and indeed felt something heavy. "But where's the car? Mr. Su, what's going on over there?" Li Ranran, holding the precious package Su Xuan personally delivered, squinted at a crowd of people gathered by the roadside, pointing and talking. Su Xuan immediately understood what was going on. He subtly kept the car a secret from Li Ranran and walked toward the crowd without making a sound. Li Ranran curiously followed behind. Chapter for this is a beast. "Wow. This car is so cool. I've never seen a car like this." Squeezing into the crowd, Li Ranran saw a red supercar whose appearance was beyond her imagination, and she immediately exclaimed, "Yes. That's a red supercar. The cool appearance doesn't look like a product from Earth at all. I found out. This is a Koenigsegg ONE worth 100 million yuan, a beast at the top of the supercar food chain. There are no more than 10 of them in the world. An enthusiastic citizen held his cell phone tremblingly and spoke to Li Ranran. 100 million yuan. Li Ranran covered her mouth, her face pale with fright. She has worked at Lycle for several years and has seen many luxury cars, including cars worth millions or tens of millions, but she has never seen a billion-dollar supercar. Her brain suddenly short-circuited and she couldn't think. Oh my god, 100 million yuan. You can buy a small plane with this price. Everyone, please stay away. If you accidentally get scratched, half your life will be wasted. When they heard it was a billion-dollar supercar, the crowd also lost their composure and immediately hid behind. Some parents even held their children tightly, fearing that their children would go up and touch the supercar out of curiosity. So, who is the owner of the car? Who on earth is so rich that he can afford such a horribly expensive supercar? I think his family assets are at least 10 billion, right? I really want to treat the owner of the car to a meal and get to know him. I want to give you a meal. Are you worthy of knowing me? It can be used as a pendant on his leg. The crowd immediately turned the topic to the owner of the Koenigsegg. Their hearts are filled with admiration, respect, fear, submission, worship, and so on for the car owner. Su. President Su. Li Ranran suddenly handed his phone to Su Xuan. This is a rare opportunity, can you help me take a photo of the car? Good. Su Xuan took the phone and stood next to the Koenigsegg with Li Ranran. Li Ranran didn't dare to get too close to the car. She stood 1 meter away from the car and struck a slim pose. Snap. Su Xuan took a picture, looked at it, and shook his head slightly. The photo is so boring, not vivid at all. Li Ranran. Su Xuan raised his hand, pointed at the hood of the Koenigsegg and said, sit on the hood and take the photo. Don't be too stingy when treating your employees. Now, about this car. He. It was given to me by the system. Don't mention scratches. I won't feel bad even if I hit him. Hiss. But when the crowd heard what you said, Su Xuan, they immediately gasped. It's scary enough just to see the two of you standing there taking pictures. You actually want to sit on the hood. What should I do if the lid collapses? Can you afford the compensation? The car owner let you sit. No brains. Fuck, it's a courier. A kind old man came over immediately, grabbed Su Xuan, who was wearing a courier uniform, and advised him kindly, you look so young, but you still have a bright future ahead of you. Don't do stupid things for vanity, don't do stupid things. Vanity? Fudge. Su Xuan was happy. He took out the car keys from his pocket and pressed them towards the car. DD. The Koenigsegg, which is worth hundreds of millions of yuan, immediately let out a loud cry. A pair of car lights suddenly flashed. Like the sharp eyes of a bird of prey, ferocious and scary. The car door also opened automatically, like a pair of gorgeous wings spread out, waiting to hug its owner. The car is mine, sit wherever you want, it's okay. Su Xuan curled the corners of his mouth. Hiss. 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 The crowd gasped one after another. The car turned out to be Su Xuan's. A courier boys. They looked at Su Xuan's shabby courier uniform, then looked at the Koenigsegg worth 100 million yuan. Their expressions twisted and they all went crazy. You can afford a Koenigsegg, but you work as a courier. Are you a rich man in disguise as a courier? Are you filming a movie? Is it intentionally targeting us poor people? Black question mark. Stunned. Gar. Holy shit. The kind old man suddenly let out a strange cry from the depths of his throat and collapsed to the ground. There was a young beauty who suddenly tilted her head and leaned on her boyfriend, breathing heavily, unable to believe what she was seeing. Her boyfriend stared at Su Xuan with a confused expression. Boss Su, can I really sit down? Only Li Ranran was relatively calm. It seems reasonable for Su Xuan, who can easily buy like her, to own a billion-dollar supercar. Can. Su Xuan calmly raised his phone and prepared to take a photo. Call. Li Ranran took a deep breath, stood in front of the hood, stood on tiptoe, and in the spotlight of everyone, pressed the beautiful curve behind her against the hood. Then she stretched out her scissor hands and smiled gently at Su Xuan. Snap. Su Xuan took a picture. When he was about to return the phone to Li Ranran, unexpectedly, Li Ranran struck a new pose. Snap. Su Xuan took another photo. Li Ranran swung again. Snap. 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 After taking more than a dozen photos, Li Ranran left Koenigsegg reluctantly and took the phone from Su Xuan. Her face was as red as if she had put on rouge. And she hopes that one day, to win Su Xuan's heart, let Su Xuan take photos for her as her boyfriend. Handsome rich man, can you let me take a picture to show off? Can I take a picture too? And I. Seeing that Su Xuan looked very approachable, everyone gathered around Su Xuan and took out their mobile phones. Su Xuan met everyone's requests one by one. My inner depression seems to have improved a lot. Su Xuan raised his head and looked at the sky. After using the system, his depressed mentality seemed to have really improved. But the improvement is not enough. We need more express delivery. Get more rewards. It's time to satisfy myself. Under everyone's shining gazes, Su Xuan got into the car. However, looking at the ridiculously luxurious interior and the many buttons inside the car, he was a little confused. It was also the first time for him to handle this kind of car and he didn't know how to start. Something magical happened. Buzz. The system pushed some information into his brain. This information allowed him to instantly grasp everything about the car, including how to drive it. It can be said that now he knows this car better than he knows his own body. Koenigsegg is fully handmade, with a carbon fiber body, weighing 1,260 kilograms, with a maximum horsepower of 1360, and can accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in just 1.9 seconds, with a top speed of over 450 km/h. Its performance is terrifying to the extreme. Su Xuan immediately started the car. Boom! Woo har har! A heavy and surging sound wave suddenly spread out in all directions. The crowd of onlookers were affected by the sound waves, and their hair suddenly flew back. It's so fucking exciting. Su Xuan held the steering wheel and exclaimed. The next second, he then drove the Koenigsegg away as everyone watched. But no one expected that. After a few seconds, he drove back again. Chapter 5. Please get off the car. I almost forgot the main thing. Su Xuan drove back, walked to the tricycle, and put the remaining parcels on the Koenigsegg, intending to deliver them all in the luxury car. This scene once again shocked the crowd that had not yet dispersed. You drive $1 billion luxury car. You actually take delivering express as a serious job. Don't say that you earn all your money by delivering couriers. If delivering express is so profitable, then everyone went to deliver the express. There are rewards for delivering express packages. Delivering packages can make your life more fun. Su Xuan didn't care about what everyone thought, and said to Li Ranran, who followed him and refused to leave, Li Ranran, go back to their hotel and find someone to send my tricycle back to the courier point. Thank you. The tricycle had been with him for some time. There is emotion. Even if you have a luxury car, you can't throw it away. Then he told Li Ranran where the express delivery point was. Clear. Li Ranran took the tricycle key from Su Xuan and straightened her beautiful chest. Boom. Su Xuan drove the Koenigsegg away. Hee. President Su is so funny. Watching Su Xuan leave, Li Ranran felt that she liked Su Xuan more and more. Then, I don't know what she was thinking. He did not go back to find someone to help Su Xuan deliver the tricycle. Instead, he raised his long legs and rode onto the tricycle himself. This is the task assigned by President Su. I must do it myself. I don't trust others to do this. Li Ranran had hair as light as a waterfall fluttering in the wind. Under the surprised gazes of passers-by, she rode her tricycle to the express delivery point with a serious face. She became a unique scenery on the road. 10 minutes later, at the gate of Biswaliuan community. Su Xuan stopped the Koenigsegg not far from the gate and narrowed his eyes. A man and a woman were arguing in front of the gate. The man turned out to be his high school classmate and desk mate Zhao Ankang. Zhao Ankang, I want to buy the house here, the one worth 5 million. You can borrow from others or rob others, but you must get the money for me. We will never get married without a house. The woman put one hand on her waist and pointed at the man's face with the other hand and shouted, appearing particularly aggressive. Xiaoxiu, shall we go look somewhere else? You're buying this after just looking at the first place. It's not a good idea. And you should stop yelling. It has a bad influence. The man lowered his head and persuaded in a low voice. Why, do you think I've embarrassed you? You are so poor that you can't even afford a house worth 5 million, and you still think I am ashamed. In one word, will you buy it or not? If not, I will go find a man who can buy it for me. After saying that, the woman crossed her arms and turned her face away. Hey, you said you. The man lit a cigarette helplessly and smoked it dejectedly. It shouldn't be like that. Su Xuan pursed his lips in the car. When Zhao Ankang was in high school, his family ran a company and their annual income was at least several million. Because his family was rich, Zhao Ankang often treated his classmate to big meals at restaurants. How come he couldn't even afford to buy a house for his wedding? I have to ask Zhao Ankang what's going on. Boom! Su Xuan stepped on the accelerator, stopped the car next to Zhao Ankang, opened the passenger door, and said, "Get in." But what he didn't expect was that Zhao Ankang didn't get in the car. Zhao Ankang's fiancée actually got into his car. This is fucking. Looking at the woman who had already sat in the passenger seat, Su Xuan was stunned. He actually hooked up with his old classmate's fiancée? What is this? If I had known this, I wouldn't have driven here. Lack of consideration. Lack of consideration. Handsome guy. Sitting in the passenger seat, the woman lifted the hair by her ear, showing a smile that she thought was very pretty, and said to Su Xuan, "Did you just eavesdrop on me?" That's the sentence. I want to find a man who can afford to buy me a house here. Come on, you heard it, but why are you so brave to drive over here and let me get in your car? Aren't you afraid that I will reject you? Misunderstanding, misunderstanding. Su Xuan said awkwardly, "Actually I. Don't worry, I won't reject you." The woman interrupted Su Xuan and said with a smile, "In fact, I saw you a long time ago. I saw you peeking at me in the car, and you peeped for a long time. I didn't expect you like women like me, you have good taste. To be honest. I said that deliberately for you to hear, because I think you are pretty good. By the way, do you live in this neighborhood?" "No." Su Xuan said very seriously. "That's right. You drive such a nice car, so you should live in a villa." The woman's smile became brighter. "I love villas, too, especially those with front and backyards. You can plant some flowers and plants, and raise some cats and dogs." Stop. Su Xuan reopened the car door and said righteously, "Sister-in-law, please get out of the car and let me have a chat with Brother Zhao." What? The woman's expression suddenly changed. Brother Zhao? Zhao Ankang? Are you Zhao Ankang's friend? Why the hell didn't you say it earlier? The woman got out of the car with a dark face, angry and reluctant. After getting off the car, he wanted to kick it. But in the end I didn't dare to kick. The car is really great. I dare not kick. Brother Zhao, get in the car. After the woman got off the car, she saw Zhao Ankang standing there stupidly, so Su Xuan invited her again. Su Xuan, is that you?" Zhao Ankang rubbed the soles of his shoes on the ground before he dared to get into the car. "Of course it's me." Su Xuan said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, "Don't tell me you've forgotten about me, your high school deskmate." "I haven't forgotten, I haven't forgotten." Zhao Ankang hurriedly shook his head, and while carefully touching the interior of the Koenigsegg with his fingers, he said, "I just didn't expect you to drive such a nice car. I remember when we were in high school, your financial situation was very poor and you always lived frugally. I was afraid that you were malnourished, so I often treated you to restaurants. He. That's right, I've gained weight from eating your food." Su Xuan smiled and raised his hand, patted Zhao Ankang on the shoulder, and then said guiltily, "What happened with my sister-in-law just now? I didn't mean it, you can't be angry with me." Not angry at all." After being patted by Su Xuan, Zhao Ankang, who was a little nervous, immediately relaxed a lot and said with a smile, "I won't be angry if you drag her to the hotel, because it is her good fortune." "Don't make this joke." Su Xuan blamed. "Old classmate, do me a favor." Zhao Ankang suddenly glanced at the woman standing outside the car. "Please drive away and take me away from here. I don't want to see her again." "Are you willing to leave?" Su Xuan asked. "I'm willing to give it up." Zhao Ankang said resolutely, "Three-legged frogs are hard to find, but women with 2 legs are everywhere." Puff. Har har har. Koenigsegg roared. "Drive into the community in a domineering manner. Because there are express deliveries to be made in the community. Salute." The security guard at the door didn't even dare to question us, he just saluted and let us pass. You have to know that in the past it was impossible for Su Xuan to ride a tricycle into the community. Speak. Su Xuan parked the car in a secluded corner of the community and said to Zhao Ankang, "Tell me about your story over the years." Zhao Ankang burst into tears when he heard this and grabbed Su Xuan's hand. "Brother, I'm so miserable." Chapter 6 Reward, 1 billion in cash. My family went bankrupt several years ago. Don't even think about buying a house worth millions. I can't even afford health insurance now. Zhao Ankang's tears suddenly welled up in his eyes. His financial situation is very poor now and he cannot even afford to buy an electric bicycle, especially since his parents are suffering from old age diseases and have been bedridden, waiting to die. What should I do? Why am I in such a miserable state? Zhao Ankang held his head in his hands and cried loudly. But he was polite enough to keep his tears on himself so as not to dirty the Koenigsegg. Life is like the waves. There are always peaks and troughs. Just be positive. Su Xuan comforted. Brother, you are doing really well now. You must have spent a lot of money to buy this car, right? Zhao Ankang looked at Su Xuan with red eyes. Can you help me? For example. Tell me, how much money do you want to borrow? Su Xuan said generously. Liker is now his cornucopia. There's no problem in just taking a few million from it. Money can only solve the problem temporarily. Zhao Ankang said, can you help me find a job with a promising future? This is the long-term solution. Work. Su Xuan blinked. He can actually help Zhao Ankang find a job. Didn't he just fire Zhang Tingting's boyfriend Qian Jixing? It would be better to let Zhao Ankang take his place. The annual salary of that position is also very promising. Moreover, Zhao Ankang is one of his own, so he can definitely be his confidant in Liker, which will bring him many benefits. Can you do it? Zhao Ankang looked at Su Xuan expectantly. It should be fine. Su Xuan took out his cell phone. I'll make a call first. After saying that, he dialed Liu Ming. Mr. Liu, is this convenient? Hey, Mr. Su, you can just call me Xiao Liu. Just tell me if you need anything. I have an old classmate who is good in every aspect. I plan to recommend him to you to replace Qian Jixing's position. Great. I was just worried about not being able to find anyone. Mr. Su, when will the person report? Well, now. Su Xuan hung up the phone and said to Zhao Ankang, would you like to be the marketing director of the Liker Hotel? I do. I'd love to. Zhao Ankang was overjoyed and held Su Xuan's hand tightly. Because he squeezed too hard, Su Xuan's hands turned red. He was just short of giving Su Xuan a kiss on the back of his hand. Of course he knew Liker. Do you know the salary level of Liker marketing director? This is simply pie in the sky. No. This is simply Su Xuan feeding him a pie. He is saved. Their whole family is saved. And what kind of terrifying connections does Su Xuan have? Just with a casual phone call, he got such an important position. The person on the phone was obviously an important person in Liker. He actually asked Su Xuan to call him Xiao Liu. Brother Su Xuan. Zhao Ankang looked at Su Xuan with tears in his eyes. He was extremely grateful and said in a swearing tone, from now on, you are my real brother. I, Zhao Ankang, am willing to die for you. Har har, you're welcome. Su Xuan waved his hand nonchalantly. After you get your first salary, just remember to treat me to a meal. No problem. Zhao Ankang said forcefully, brother. But he didn't know. This brother of his is Liker's boss. Okay. Su Xuan opened the car door. Hurry up and report to Liker. I still have a few express deliveries to make. Okay. I'll go this way. Zhao Ankang got out of the car and watched the Koenigsegg worth hundreds of millions of yuan drive away. Then he realized something. Su Xuan, who drives a luxury car, actually has to deliver a package. What is going on? It's too unreal, isn't it? He racked his brains but couldn't figure out why. He just looked in the direction the car was going. Bow deeply. He is a grateful person. Su Xuan saved him when he was at his lowest point. He is really willing to die for Su Xuan. Next. Zhao Ankang strode out of the Biswaliuan community, not caring about saving money, and took a taxi straight to Liker. Then I was warmly received by Liu Ming. Mr. Su Xuansu is the boss of Liker. When Liu Ming told him this, There was a rumbling in his head, and he was so shocked that he almost fainted. Since then, Ricardo had a pair of vigilant eyes. Anyone who dares to make a mistake, everyone will be stared at by these eyes. Zhao Ankang became Su Xuan's human surveillance in Leica. Please sign for your express delivery. Please sign for this express delivery. After parting with Zhao Ankang, Su Xuan delivered several parcels in Biswiliyuan community, but found to his regret that he did not receive any system reward. He could not figure out what the criteria were for triggering super express delivery. This is the last one. I hope I can get a reward this time. Holding the last express delivery in his hand, Su Xuan knocked on a door. Boom boom boom. Who is it? A sweet yet slightly sad voice came from behind the door. Are you Yi Qianqian? Here is an express delivery for you. Su Xuan said. Express delivery? That's not possible, the voice behind the door asked cautiously. Express delivery is not allowed in our community. Because? I'm too handsome. The door opened. A young girl with 2 ponytails, wearing a thin cartoon pajamas, blinked her incredibly beautiful big eyes and tilted her head to look at Su Xuan. Her appearance was definitely 90 points. She was one of the few girls with high appearance that Su Xuan had seen since he started delivering couriers. Hello, Yi Qianqian, please sign for this express delivery. Su Xuan did not become enthusiastic just because the girl was pretty. He handed the last package to the girl with an indifferent look on his face. You are indeed very handsome. Yi Qianqian thought Su Xuan was joking, but she found out that Su Xuan was telling the truth. Su Xuan is the most handsome courier boy she has ever seen. It's not just the courier guy. He is the most handsome man I have ever seen. Her heart beat fast as soon as she saw Su Xuan. It was as if the string of first love in my heart was quietly plucked by an invisible force. No wonder she was so moved. Ever since Su Xuan got the system and received 2 sky-high rewards, there has been a hint of bright sunshine in his melancholy temperament, and a hint of warmth under his cold appearance, and his charm has become exceptionally extraordinary. Handsome guy, is your heart square? Yi Qianqian took the package from Su Xuan. Otherwise, why do you look so straight? Oh. Su Xuan was very calm after being teased by Yi Qianqian. He replied, little beauty, are you a well in the desert? Otherwise, why do I want to jump into you and drink your water in big gulps when I see you? Pfft. Slippery tongue. Yi Qianqian burst into laughter, like 100 flowers blooming. The appearance suddenly jumped to 95 points. By now. Su Xuan tore off the signed form by Yi Qianqian and turned to leave. Yi Qianqian held onto the door frame, and reluctantly watched Su Xuan enter the elevator and disappear. She suddenly felt very lost. Why is Su Xuan so indifferent to her? Other men would kneel down and lick her when they see her. To make her smile. You can learn to crawl like a dog in the street. Hey, if he had talked to me for a few more words, my life might have been different. I should just think of what happened just now as a beautiful dream. Yi Qianqian returned to the room, opened the express delivery, and took out an extremely sharp utility knife. Then, she filled the bathtub in the bathroom with water. Lie down in it. Cut your wrist hard. The blood instantly dyed the entire bathtub red. Ding, it is detected that the host has just completed a super express delivery, and the reward is 1 billion in cash. Su Xuan just arrived downstairs. I received a system reminder. He couldn't help but look up at Yi Qianqian's building. Chapter 7 Thrilling Rescue. Ding dong. Your CCB savings card with the last number 1250 has an income of 1 billion yuan. The text message alert sounded. A long line of numbers filled the phone screen. Su Xuan already has a super 5-star hotel and a luxury car worth 100 million yuan. When he saw the 1 billion yuan arrive in his account, his mood did not fluctuate too much. In fact, the temperament he exuded was still a little melancholy. There's something wrong with that little beauty. Su Xuan looked up at the building of Yi Qianqian's house and frowned slightly. He delivered more express packages, met more people, and his vision of people became more accurate. Yi Qianqian's voice just now was very sad. She also seemed wary when she asked him who he was. Although she acted normal and even lively after opening the door, her beautiful big eyes revealed an unconcealable despair. A kind of world-weary despair. The package he received seemed to be. Su Xuan recalled the notes on the package and said in a deep voice, a utility knife. Some couriers do not hide the type of items. The courier can see it directly. There is also a system. The system defines this seemingly ordinary express delivery as a super express delivery. She doesn't want to live anymore, does she? Combining all the clues, Su Xuan felt vaguely uneasy. Soon, he turned around and ran back into the building, heading straight for Yi Qianqian's house. Boom! 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 The door of Yi Qianqian's house was closed and couldn't be opened by knocking. Yi Qianqian! Open the door! Your signature just now was not clear, you need to sign it again. Su Xuan shouted very rationally. If Yi Qianqian had not yet committed suicide, she would definitely open the door after hearing him shouting like that. Tick! Tick! Time is like sand in an hourglass, passing by quickly. The door is still closed. There was no movement in the room. This made Su Xuan feel very uneasy. It also further confirms my guess. Saving lives is like putting out a fire. Su Xuan took a few steps back and turned to look towards the corridor window. 23rd floor. You can see the clouds outside the window. It's scary high. Su Xuan stood at the corridor window, took a deep breath, and climbed out. Yes. He wants to enter Yi Qianqian's house from outside the high-rise building. He grabbed the gaps in the building, stepped on the protruding edges of the building, and moved towards the balcony of Yi Qianqian's house little by little. He looked down. Objects on the ground have become smaller. A moment of dizziness. Call. So scary. Everyone, look, something's happening. There's a guy climbing the 20th floor. Look at his clothes, he looks like a courier boy. There were a few elderly people strolling downstairs, and they suddenly noticed Su Xuan. They raised their heads high, pointed at Su Xuan, and talked a lot. Why is he crawling outside? Aren't you afraid of falling to death? Oh, was he caught stealing a woman? Yes, that must be it. He stole someone else's wife, and when her husband suddenly came back, he hid outside the building. The imagination of the masses is extremely rich. Immediately make up a reasonable reason for Su Xuan's action. Laugh. Su Xuan suddenly slipped. The body fell suddenly. In fact, it had just rained a few days ago, and a layer of green moss had grown on the edge where he stepped. I'm going to fall to my death. Everyone stop looking. Stay away, don't let the blood splash on you. The onlookers started shouting and screaming, and backed away. An old woman hurriedly covered her granddaughter's big eyes and said in a trembling voice, Don't look. Don't look. Bang. After falling more than 1 meter, Su Xuan was lucky enough to grab a pipe of the air conditioner outdoor unit. And I caught it with one hand. Whoosh. The building is tall and the wind is strong. He was like a spider hanging high in the air, swaying and in danger. This scene made the onlookers breathe faster. They didn't want Su Xuan to die. At least you can't die in your own community. My strength. In the fierce wind, cold sweat oozed from Su Xuan's forehead, but there was a gleam of surprise in his eyes. Why am I so strong now? In the past, his upper body strength was not enough and he couldn't do even a few pull-ups. But now, he grabbed the air conditioning pipe with one hand. Not only is it very relaxing, but it even looks like there is still plenty of energy left. Ding, every time the host receives a reward, his physical strength will be enhanced by 1 point. Only in this way can the host have extraordinary self-protection ability, protect himself, and protect the rewards he has obtained. The system answered Su Xuan's doubts in a timely manner. You are really reliable. Su Xuan's confidence immediately increased. He exerted force with one hand and his body suddenly jumped up, like a nimble monkey, and climbed back to the place where he had just fallen. Then, he climbed the mountain like a nimble monkey, and after a few easy moves, he safely arrived at the balcony of Yi Qianqian's house. Fuck, that's awesome. He's just like Spider-Man in the movies. That's right, it's amazing, this delivery guy must have practiced kung fu. Su Xuan's amazing skills once again amazed the onlookers. Many people also used their mobile phones to capture this exciting and thrilling scene. This kid's skills remind me of the glorious old days. An old man wearing a retired military uniform and green rubber shoes, carrying a bag full of vegetables, happened to pass by and saw this scene, and couldn't help but admire it. When he was young, he guarded the territory, and it was only thanks to his extraordinary skills that he was able to escape death time and time again. And he didn't think that Su Xuan was caught stealing a woman. Because Su Xuan fell down and climbed back up. There is obviously something else going on. Oh, you're giving me another difficult problem. Su Xuan climbed outside the balcony of Yi Qianqian's house and curled his lips. The balcony windows were closed tightly, and none of them would open when I pushed them. Jingle bells, jingle bells. Su Xuan tapped the window glass with his fingers. The glass is not only very thick, but also double-layer soundproof glass. My strength should be enough to break the double-glazed glass with one punch, right? Su Xuan took a deep breath, grabbed the gap on the balcony with one hand, clenched his fist with the other hand, and smashed the glass. Bang! The double-glazed glass shattered. Su Xuan's face lit up with joy, and he turned over and went into Yi Qianqian's house. The room is clean. It's quiet too. Yi Qianqian, are you there? Su Xuan searched 2 rooms but couldn't find Yi Qianqian. At last, he found Yi Qianqian in the bathroom. What he saw made him narrow his eyes. Yi Qianqian lay quietly in the bathtub. Long hair floating in the water. Like a sad and beautiful flower that blooms quietly. Still a blood-red flower. The water in the bathtub was a shocking bright red. It's really suicide. Su Xuan strode to the bathtub, picked up the wet Yi Qianqian, and saw a deep wound on Yi Qianqian's wrist. What exactly happened? Why would a young, beautiful and invincible girl want to end her precious life? Hold on. Su Xuan carried Yi Qianqian out of the bathroom. But he didn't just carry Yi Qianqian downstairs to the hospital. He simply placed Yi Qianqian gently on the sofa in the living room, then went into the kitchen and found a roll of plastic wrap. He used plastic wrap. Tightly wrapped Yi Qianqian's wound. Then, he took off the clothes Yi Qianqian was still wearing. Dripping water. Cartoon pajamas. The amazing beauty of Yi Qianqian. It immediately caught his eye. Chapter 8. We're all back. I'm sorry. Su Xuan ripped off Yi Qianqian's wet pajamas. Then he went to Yi Qianqian's closet, found a clean piece of clothing, and helped Yi Qianqian change into it personally. Then he carried Yi Qianqian downstairs. You. When they got downstairs, Yi Qianqian was woken up by the wind. She narrowed her beautiful eyes, looked at Su Xuan's clean and handsome face, and murmured, "Are you an angel?" Puff. Su Xuan couldn't help but laugh. He lowered his eyebrows and glanced at the pale Yi Qianqian. Angels won't break windows to save people. Yi Qianqian said weakly, "Even if you are not an angel, you must be a male god. You are really charming." No wonder she is both an angel and a male god. It was already evening. The setting sun shone on Su Xuan's face, casting a beautiful halo on him, making him look like a dream, not like an ordinary person. Just keep your mouth shut. Su Xuan deliberately put on a fierce face and scolded Yi Qianqian. Yi Qianqian, wow, so cool, but is still handsome even though he's cool. As soon as they saw Su Xuan carrying Yi Qianqian out, the people who were watching gathered around them. Some of them saw the problem right away. Look at this girl's wrist. It looks like she cut her wrists. The delivery guy just saved the girl. Although Yi Qianqian's wrist had been wrapped in plastic wrap, the plastic wrap was transparent and the wound inside could be seen. This made the onlookers realize that the reason Su Xuan had just risked his life to climb the stairs was to save Yi Qianqian. Yi Qianqian felt embarrassed when she heard the crowd shouting and immediately buried her head in Su Xuan's arms. The smell in his arms is so nice, it smells like gardenias. Yi Qianqian is becoming more and more obsessed with her. She seems to have forgotten that she is also a goddess with amazing beauty. There are enough men who want to kneel down and lick her to line up for a kilometer. Help! Everyone, make way! Su Xuan held the jade in his arms, squeezed out of the crowd, and walked towards his Koenigsegg. Yi Qianqian's body fragrance drifts in the wind, intoxicating. Good job, young man. I knew what you did must be extraordinary. Society really needs positive people like you. The old man wearing retired military uniform looked at Su Xuan's back with a look of relief. People say that we live in a materialistic society now. Everyone is selfish. But there is always some people who take action and use the light of fireflies to illuminate the cold corners. This is a bit troublesome. Su Xuan suddenly stopped. He saw that his Koenigsegg was blocked in the corner by a brand new Mercedes-Benz C200L. If he didn't move the car, there would be no way to drive it out. Saving lives is like saving fire. What to do? Beep beep. At this moment, a loud whistle sounded from behind Su Xuan. Su Xuan turned his head and saw a Volkswagen Tiguan driving towards him. Brother, help me. Su Xuan walked to the driver's window and said to the driver, "My friend is in trouble. Can you help take him to the hospital? I can give you a reward." Just tell me how much it is. He now has 1 billion in his bank account. It's okay for a Tiguan driver to ask for a random price, as long as he has enough imagination. Heh, you're such a courier, but you're so arrogant. The driver of the Tiguan car, holding a cigarette in his mouth, took a look at Su Xuan's clothes, and blew a smoke ring at Su Xuan. I want 2,000 yuan, are you willing to give it to me? His imagination only went so far. No problem. Su Xuan freed one hand to open the car door. Wait. The driver of the Tiguan suddenly noticed that something was wrong with Yi Qianqian's wrist. Seeing Yi Qianqian's face pressed against Su Xuan's chest, he didn't know whether she was dead or alive. He immediately stopped her and said, "Did you kill someone? I don't care about your business. I don't care how much money you give me. It's very foul to kill someone. You will be unlucky for the rest of your life." After saying that, the Tiguan driver stepped on the accelerator and sped away. Oh, look at you, you missed a chance to cheat a billionaire. Looking at the Tiguan driving away with regret, Su Xuan held Yi Qianqian in his arms and looked left and right, but didn't see any other cars approaching. Yi Qianqian's body began to tremble. How about everyone do me a favor? Then, Su Xuan looked at the crowd next to him, pointed his chin at the Mercedes-Benz C200L that was blocking his car and said, "Please help me push this Mercedes-Benz away so that my car can get out, okay?" What? Is this blocked supercar yours? Don't be ridiculous, you're just a courier. You can never afford a car like this in your lifetime. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. His face was full of disbelief. It's mine. Su Xuan freed his hand again and touched the car key through his trouser pocket. Didi. Koenigsegg's eyes suddenly shone brightly. Like a domineering monster rushing out from hell. Oh shit. Damn it. Oh my god. This car really belongs to this courier boy. Everyone's expressions immediately became extremely exciting. Huh. Yi Qianqian also raised her pretty face and glanced at Koenigsegg, her face full of disbelief. She took the express delivery from Su Xuan herself. Su Xuan is indeed a genuine courier. He actually has such an extraordinary supercar. No way. It's all so unreal. I must be dreaming. I'm going to faint. As long as everyone helps me push the Mercedes-Benz, I will give everyone 2,000 yuan as hard work fee. How about it? Seeing that no one was willing to touch the brand new Mercedes, Su Xuan had no choice but to persuade them to pay with money. You have to know that there are at least 20 people present. If it's 2,000 yuan per person, that's 40,000 yuan. But 40,000 yuan for Su Xuan now. Not even a single hair. Absolutely not worth mentioning. Moreover, if you don't want to spend 2,000 yuan on a Mercedes-Benz, he could easily raise the price to 20,000 per person. Being rich is so arrogant. Okay. You must give us money afterwards. Most of the people present were elderly people with nothing to do. When they heard that there was 2,000 yuan to be won, they rolled up their sleeves. Some even took out their mobile phones and called their family members, asking them to rush over to get a share of the spoils. If the Mercedes-Benz was damaged, Su Xuan would be blamed anyway. I don't need you anymore. The old soldier suddenly stood in front of everyone and signaled them not to take action. He turned to Su Xuan and said, "Today, more than a dozen old comrades came to my house, waiting for me to cook and drink. They have nothing to do, so I just called them to help. Please wait a moment, it won't delay the little girl's business." When Su Xuan saw what the old man was wearing, he was filled with awe. Veterans never die. It's just a different way of defending our country. The old man had just finished speaking. Then I heard a burst of orderly footsteps coming from a distance. A group of white-haired old men, all wearing plain old military uniforms. They wear green rubber shoes. Neat and tidy. Vigorously. With big strides. Running towards this side. "Old squad leader, please issue the combat mission." An old man in the lead saluted the old soldier in uniform carrying vegetables with a standard military salute. Just now his old squad leader said something to him on the phone. "Old brothers, there is a mission. The people need us." They immediately came running over in a team. Their movements are skillful and quick, as if returning to the glorious old days. Did you see that Mercedes? The old soldier held the bag of vegetables in one hand and pointed at the Mercedes with the other, saying forcefully, "Take it down. Clear. Clear. Clear." The veterans responded in unison. Then, like tigers, they surrounded the Mercedes-Benz. Seeing his old comrades who had fought through life and death together, still in good shape, the old soldier's eyes suddenly filled with tears. I'm back. One by one, they are all back. Chapter 9, Invincible Power. Raw. Har. The Mercedes-Benz could not be pushed when it was parked, so the old comrades worked together and actually lifted the Mercedes-Benz away. At their age, it is truly invincible. Su Xuan wanted to thank these respectable and lovely old people, but they did not accept his thanks. They said they were happy to help Su Xuan. They also want to be needed in their old age. Brothers, let's go and have a drink. The old soldier carrying vegetables waved his hand and left with his comrades who had been through life and death with him. Their faces were all smiles. They are full of energy. But they are also sad in their hearts. We are all getting older. Maybe we'll meet again next time. There will be one less person. 2 people less. 3 people less. In the end, everything turned into a handful of yellow soil. Sit tight. Su Xuan put Yi Qianqian into the car, started the Koenigsegg, and drove away from the community. On the road, he held the steering wheel with one hand. Made a call to Liu Ming of Liker. And the chic figure of him holding the steering wheel with one hand while making a phone call made Yi Qianqian intoxicated again, and her beautiful eyes were shining with stars. Boss Liu, help me with something. There are some retired veterans having a party in Biswaliuan community. Find out which building they live in, and then get at least 20 bottles of the best wine from their hotel and send them to them. I want you to do it within 20 minutes, no delay. Xiao Liu understands. After instructing Liu Ming, Su Xuan was about to hang up the phone when Yi Qianqian suddenly spoke softly. My God, I know where that old man lives. It's room 201, building 16. Not only do I know where he lives, but many people in the community know where he lives because he always helps everyone enthusiastically. Good. Su Xuan relayed this to Liu Ming. He then drove to a nearby hospital. This male god is not only handsome, but also very brave and loving. Yi Qianqian seemed to have forgotten the pain in her wrist. She looked at Su Xuan's handsome profile and said intoxicatedly, a man like this makes people love him. Liu Ming is indeed efficient. In less than 20 minutes, he arrived downstairs of Lao Junyi with a cart of wine and personally delivered dozens of bottles of good wine to Lao Junyi's house. The old people didn't want the wine. But Liu Ming said that if they didn't want it, he would be unemployed and his boss would fire him. On this day, the old people shed tears of satisfaction and said goodbye. At the same time, they also remembered a person's name, Su Xuan. They were very grateful to Su Xuan for sending wine to liven up the party. And they insisted that Liu Ming tell them Su Xuan's name. They naturally thought that Su Xuan was the handsome young man who was the hero who saved the beauty. Who else could it be but him? Plastic wrap. What kind of brain hole is this? And this plastic wrap is so effective, it has healed the wound a little bit. In the emergency room, several surgeons looked at the plastic wrap wrapped around the wrist in amazement and praised Su Xuan highly. This method not only ensures zero blood loss for the injured, it also prevents the wound from being infected by dust. Very good. Unlike some people, who foolishly cover the wound with sanitary napkins. And Yi Qianqian's wound was a piece of cake for them. It was sutured quickly and she didn't even need to be hospitalized and was discharged on the spot. My male god brother. After the treatment, Yi Qianqian pinched Su Xuan's sleeve with her small hands, gently shaking it, and said coquettishly, please send me back, okay? The man who saved her life. She's determined. I'm busy. Su Xuan saw that Yi Qianqian was fine, and he had wasted a lot of time on Yi Qianqian, so he said, it's getting late, and I have to rush back to the courier for a meeting. There will be a shopping festival in a few days. By then, there will be a huge amount of express deliveries to be made. The person in charge of the delivery point wants to hold a mobilization meeting for all the couriers. Don't be so cold. Yi Qianqian had never actively pursued a man, and her words and actions were quite direct. If you don't send me off, I might become depressed and commit suicide again. Only when I'm with you, I won't think about those unhappy things. She blinked her charming big eyes and looked at Su Xuan pitifully, like a cute cat, really irresistible. Save people to the end. Send the Buddha to the west. In desperation, Su Xuan had to take Yi Qianqian out of the emergency room. Yi Qianqian took advantage of her wounds and hugged Su Xuan's arm, resting her head on Su Xuan's shoulder, looking very delicate. Wow, is this a celebrity couple? The man is so handsome, and the woman is so beautiful. Oh my god, how could you let me see such a scene? My eyes are blinded. The patients who came and went could not help but marvel at the appearance of the two persons, and forgot their own illnesses for a moment. An old man in a wheelchair looked so hungry that his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He watched Su Xuan and Yi Qianqian walk away. He stood up tremblingly, holding onto the wheelchair. His lips trembled and he said with tears in his eyes, "My youth was eaten by dogs." The family members who were with him were stunned when they saw the old man actually stood up. He is paralyzed. I can't take care of myself. How did he stand up miraculously? As Su Xuan and Yi Qianqian were walking towards the parking lot. Something is happening. Hey, what kind of car is this? Why have I never seen it before? In the parking lot, a woman with heavy makeup and a beauty score of about 75 discovered Su Xuan's Koenigsegg. She doesn't know Koenigsegg. Never even seen it on the road. There are no more than 10 of them in the world, and in China, where there are many wealthy people, there are only 5 or 6 at most. It would be strange if she had seen them. Then, the woman took out her cell phone, took a picture of Koenigsegg, searched for it, and her mouth suddenly opened so wide that 5 or 6 bananas could definitely be stuffed in. Oh my god. This is incredible. It's actually $1 billion sports car. She recently hooked up with a multi-millionaire and planned to marry him, so she secretly came to their hospital today to get her membrane repaired so that the rich man would be completely devoted to her. She's not lying. But for love. But now, compared with $1 billion supercar, a millionaire worth tens of millions is nothing. You can be called a poor guy. No. A woman's youth is extremely precious. I must choose a better one. Water flows to low places and people go to high places. I want to hook up with the owner of this supercar. It would be even more perfect if he was a handsome guy. The woman quickly took out a small mirror and touched up her makeup on the window of the Koenigsegg, then made a brilliant plan and hid. Beep beep. Soon, Su Xuan walked to the parking lot alone and got into the car. The reason why he came alone was because he didn't want Yi Qianqian to walk too much, so he asked her to wait outside the parking lot. But he had just started the car. Then an unexpected thing happened. Oh my, I feel dizzy. A woman suddenly appeared in front of the car, held her forehead, shook her body, climbed on the hood of the Koenigsegg, and then lay motionless. Yes. This is a woman's brilliant plan. She understands the man's childish psychology very well. Every man wants to be a hero and save the beauty, and then fuck her after saving her. This kind of thing can make a man show off at the drinking table for the rest of his life. Bumping into someone. But she obviously didn't understand Su Xuan's train of thought. When Su Xuan saw her like this, he thought she was a scammer. Su Xuan frowned slightly and got out of the car. Hey, he fell into the trap. The woman squinted her eyes and saw Su Xuan getting out of the car, feeling secretly proud. She thought Su Xuan had fallen into her trap. Chapter 10. This woman is a strong rival. And the owner of this supercar is so handsome. He's so handsome that my heart is beating fast. I really want to give him the thing I just made up. The woman was like a fallen sunflower, crawling on the hood and daydreaming. But what she never expected was that when Su Xuan just walked in front of her, before he had time to say anything or do anything, a foot suddenly stretched out into the air. With a thud. Kick her to the ground. She lay on the ground with her arms and legs spread out. When she opened her eyes, her expression became extremely complicated. She saw Yi Qianqian, whose appearance score was over 90. Not good. This woman is a formidable rival. You are such a brave sister. You actually molested my man's car. Can you just touch his things? Yi Qianqian pointed at the woman lying on the ground with an angry look on her face. She is beautiful when she is angry. She also saw from afar the woman pretending to faint and crawling on the hood of the car. Based on her woman's intuition, she thought that this woman definitely had ulterior motives. So she rushed over immediately. Forehead. Looking at the aggressive Yi Qianqian, Su Xuan was stunned. I didn't expect that Yi Qianqian, who looks like a 2D beautiful girl, actually has such a fierce side. And Yi Qianqian is still injured. How come you can't control yourself and become violent with others? My dear male god, you don't have to worry about anything. Yi Qianqian glanced at Su Xuan and said righteously, you saved my life, so let me do something for you. After that, She is like a guardian elf. He took a step forward and stood in front of Su Xuan. Little bitch, who the hell are you? How dare you kick me? The woman crossed her legs and climbed up from the ground very flexibly. She stretched out her hands and scratched Yi Qianqian's face, shouting, I'll scratch your face. Be reasonable. Seeing this, Su Xuan pulled Yi Qianqian to his side and pushed the woman with his hand. His physique has been strengthened by the system. This push is truly extraordinary. Laugh. The soles of the woman's feet rubbed against the ground, and she slid back several steps in the blink of an eye. Then with a plop. Lying steadily on the ground. Fortunately, Su Xuan didn't use his full strength. Otherwise she would fly out on the spot. My idol actually beat up another woman for me, hee hee. Yi Qianqian hugged Su Xuan's arm contentedly and pressed her pretty body against Su Xuan. Wow, you're so handsome, why are you so cruel to a weak woman like me? The woman calmed down, sat on the ground, flapped her legs, and started crying loudly. Some passers-by heard her crying and immediately gathered around to watch. Everyone, please help me judge this matter. I was just passing by here and they beat me up for no reason. If they don't give me an explanation, I will call the police to arrest them. Seeing more people coming, the woman cried even louder. But what she never expected was that passers-by seemed to have a bit of a strange opinion of her. Wow, this woman is so embarrassing when she throws a tantrum. They are like a golden boy and a beautiful girl. They wouldn't even dare to step on an ant to death, right? How could they possibly hit you? I can tell you're framing someone. The woman, the heifer, drank foreign liquor and was stunned. What kind of world is this? Is this a world where people are judged by their appearance? Do good-looking people not hit others? Husband, come here quickly, someone is bullying me, a large group of people are bullying me. The woman took out her cell phone and hurriedly called her multi-millionaire boyfriend. The rich man's reaction was really quick. In a few minutes, a Land Rover arrived. Who the hell is bullying my? Don't you know to look at the owner when beating the dog? The multi-millionaire had a huge beer belly, holding a black bag in one hand and pointing at everyone with the other, cursing. Seeing her helpers coming, the woman became even more arrogant and pointed at Su Xuan and Yi Qianqian and said, That's them. This little bitch kicked me, and this handsome guy slapped me. The multi-millionaire immediately set his sights on Su Xuan and Yi Qianqian. Oh my god. The man looks like a banished immortal. And the girl is simply a real fairy. Two people stand together. It is really a beautiful scenery. As soon as the multi-millionaire saw Su Xuan and Yi Qianqian, his heart was filled with sweetness, as if he had returned to his first love. Hello. The multimillionaire restrained his rude behavior and became polite. He said to Su Xuan and Yi Qianqian politely, Did you hit my girlfriend? I did hit him. Su Xuan did not deny it. He pointed at his Koenigsegg and said, But there is a reason for this. There is a dashcam in the car. Go check it out yourself. What? Good God. Koenigsegg worth 100 million yuan. The multi-millionaire was in the second-hand car business and was very knowledgeable about vehicles. When he saw Su Xuan's Koenigsegg, he couldn't remain calm. He couldn't help but walk to the car and gently touch the paint. TSK. Bobo. That's great, it's really great. He was so excited that he was at a loss for words. His lifelong dream was to buy a Koenigsegg, and his computer desktop was a red Koenigsegg. He never expected that today he would actually see the real thing and touch it with his own hands. Compared with this Koenigsegg, my Land Rover is just a real farm vehicle. Can I actually get in the car and look? The multi-millionaire withdrew his hand and looked at Su Xuan inquiringly. He is more polite. He didn't dare to offend Su Xuan. Anyone who can drive a Koenigsegg worth hundreds of millions, no matter young or old, must have extremely powerful connections. He is definitely not someone he can afford to offend, even though he is worth tens of millions. If he is not careful, he will be doomed. You can do it. Su Xuan shrugged indifferently and opened the car door. Oh my, this is so inappropriate. The multimillionaire looked at his shiny leather shoes. It's not good to make your car dirty. I can see it from outside the car. Please pull up the records. That's fine. Su Xuan was just about to get into the car and check the surveillance video when that ruffian woman suddenly went crazy, ran up and grabbed Su Xuan tightly. Can't watch. Don't let anyone see it. The secret was revealed at first glance. She didn't expect that Koenigsegg could still record video even when the car was parked and turned off. The multimillionaire was not stupid. He immediately realized something and pulled the woman over. He said to Su Xuan, "Thank you for your help." Su Xuan got into the car and called up the recorded footage on the central control screen. Then, the multimillionaire saw the woman standing in front of Su Xuan's car taking pictures, putting on makeup, pretending to faint. His face turned ugly. "Hey, whose medical record is this?" Yi Qianqian suddenly found a medical record book next to the car. I picked it up and opened it, and it was from Zhu Maimai. Looking at the case content, it turns out to be for replenishing some kind of membrane. "Give it back to me." When the woman saw Yi Qianqian picked up her medical record, she was shocked and reached out to grab it. This must have fallen accidentally when she pretended to faint. She wanted to find a trash can to throw it away after leaving the hospital. Yi Qianqian immediately handed the medical record to the multimillionaire. "Let me show it to you. Don't be angry after you read it." The multimillionaire took the medical record and took a look. "I was suddenly so angry that I felt cold. Didn't you say you had a toothache? You actually came to the hospital to make up for this. Didn't you say you never gave your first time to anyone else? What the hell?" The multimillionaire said nothing. "Raise your big, heavy hand." It hit the woman in the face. At the same time, Su Xuan's cell phone also rang. "When you see the caller's name." He frowned. Chapter 11: Non-Human Rights. "Su Xuan, get back to the meeting right now." The call was from Lu Dachuan, the person in charge of the express delivery point. New. Su Xuan hung up the phone, waved to Yi Qianqian, and the two got into the Koenigsegg. "I'll beat you to death. Shameless green tea bitch. You actually tried to deceive me with a fake body. I'll beat you to death, I'll beat you to death." The multimillionaire was still beating up the woman, blocking the car's path. Beep beep. Su Xuan had no choice but to honk their horn. The Koenigsegg horn sounds so nice. It's like a master playing an instrument. The multimillionaire raised his head when he heard the sound and was shocked by the horn. "Excuse me. I'd made a fool of myself, my brother." Then, the multimillionaire quickly pulled the woman aside and continued beating her. "He is so angry. I wanted to take this woman to see a 200 square meter wedding house today. It's okay now." "What the hell?" "Thank you, brother." The rich man thanked Koenigsegg as it slowly drove away. If it weren't for Su Xuan, he might be deceived by this damn woman for his whole life. He, that woman is so miserable. Sitting in a billion-dollar supercar, Yi Qianqian smiled sweetly at Su Xuan. "I don't know if she has recovered." His face was no longer as pale as before. "Become radiant. Don't mind other people's business." Su Xuan said to Yi Qianqian while driving, "I can't take you home. I have to go to the courier to attend a meeting, otherwise my salary will be deducted." Okay. Yi Qianqian was actually very happy. "I can go with you and see where you work." At the same time, she also liked Su Xuan's attitude. Driving a billion-dollar supercar. "I am also worried about my salary being deducted." What an ambitious man. Heh. Su Xuan laughed. "My real workplace is not there, but every street, every neighborhood, every house, and I get to know every strange and interesting person." "Wow, so romantic." Yi Qianqian blinked her beautiful eyes. "I really want to deliver the package with you." She couldn't help but imagine a picture in her mind. She was also wearing a courier uniform, accompanying Su Xuan in delivering express parcels through the streets and alleys. If Su Xuan sweats, she wiped Su Xuan's sweat. If Su Xuan is tired, she massaged Su Xuan's shoulders and patted his back. But she didn't know. Su Xuan is Leica's boss. Before delivering the express to her, he had already had a sauna, had a massage by a Filipino technician, and had a massage by Li Ranran who had learned Japanese techniques. He didn't need anyone to serve him at all. "Oh, man, you have something on your shoulder." Yi Qianqian didn't mind at all that she was sticking to Su Xuan. She stretched out her jade-like fingers, pinched a strand of hair from Su Xuan's shoulder, and then said angrily, "It must be that bad woman's hair. You've soiled my idol's clothes." Su Xuan tilted his head and glanced at Yi Qianqian. "Is your eyesight not good?" Yi Qianqian opened her eyes wide to show Su Xuan, "It's pretty good. My vision is 2.0. Su Xuan, that's your hair." Yi Qianqian hurriedly compared it with her own hair and found that it was indeed her own hair. Her little face turned red all of a sudden. Then she regretted it. If I had known it was my hair, I would not have taken it off my idol. I have my own things on the male god. Isn't he it romantic and happy? Okay, let's talk business. Su Xuan glanced at the silly Yi Qianqian and said, looking at your eccentric appearance, you don't seem like someone who can't see things clearly. How could you do something like that? Yi Qianqian knew that Su Xuan was asking her why she wanted to commit suicide. My cat is missing. Yi Qianqian stammered, its name is Tong Tong, it's very well behaved, it listens to me very well, and it's very considerate, but it suddenly disappeared, and I can't find it no matter how hard I try. My male god, do you think it got lost, or was it stolen? I'll give you a chance to speak again. Su Xuan naturally didn't believe what Yi Qianqian said. Did I really say that? Yi Qianqian looked at Su Xuan's charming profile, thought for a moment, and then told him the sad secret that was weighing on her heart. She originally had a very happy family. My father is the vice president of a company. My mother is a beautiful woman with good morals. But it is just as the old saying goes. Men become bad when they have money. Just last month, her father divorced her mother because he got involved with another woman, and so the happy family was broken up. Their mother was heartbroken and went out to travel alone to relax. As a result, he met with an accident on a mountain and died. But she didn't think it was an accident. She thinks her mother doesn't want to live anymore because of her father's betrayal. After taking care of my mother's funeral, she stayed alone in her once happy home. The more she thought about it, the sadder she became. She had thoughts of committing suicide. Finally, today. Wow! Yi Qianqian suddenly hugged Su Xuan's arm and burst into tears. Su Xuan pursed his lips, slowed down the car, and let Yi Qianqian cry. Yi Qianqian. After Yi Qianqian calmed down, he spoke again, all phenomena are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows, like fog and lightning. My idol. Yi Qianqian raised her watery eyes, I don't understand. Ahem. Su Xuan had no choice but to change his way of saying it. You know, God is very interesting. Cats like to eat fish, but they can't go into the water. Fish like to eat earthworms, but they can't go ashore. Life is about choosing, giving up, having, and losing. Do you understand? Ming, I understand. Yi Qianqian opened her little mouth. This time she immediately understood what Su Xuan said. My mood suddenly became brighter. Life is really like this. Always possessing. And keep losing. It is beyond human control. Do you really understand? Su Xuan smiled, then from now on. I will live well from now on and never commit suicide again. Yi Qianqian said with force. What others say may not have such an effect on her. But Su Xuan is different. Her heart beat fast when she saw Su Xuan. Su Xuan saved her life again. She and Su Xuan bully the bad woman again. It's so fun to be with Su Xuan. Su Xuan is what she has now. She must hold on to this precious possession. 10 minutes later, the courier that Su Xuan belonged to arrived. In order to avoid making colleagues feel awkward, Su Xuan deliberately parked the Koenigsegg at a distance and walked into the express delivery point. Yi Qianqian was like a little elf, following Su Xuan closely. Hey, Su Xuan, I thought you weren't coming. As soon as I walked into the courier office, the person in charge, Lu Xuan, in front of more than 20 couriers, pointing at Su Xuan and scolding. At the same time, he also saw Yi Qianqian. His eyes immediately became sly and shining. Swallowed hard. This chick is so hot. It's the best in the world. More than 20 delivery boys also focused their attention on Yi Qianqian. Swish, swish. Sucking saliva. Hello, little girl. Lu Xuan had no idea why Yi Qianqian came, so he said to her in a very gentle tone. Did you come here to complain about Su Xuan? He often has a bad service attitude, especially towards girls. Don't be afraid, I will help you teach him a lesson. Chapter 12 I want to be as lonely as the snow like everyone else. Little girl, I will help you teach him a lesson. As the leader here, how about I deduct his performance bonus for this month? On his own territory, in front of more than 20 couriers, Lu Xuan demonstrated his authority. He is also afraid of not handling customer complaints well. Because the headquarters takes complaints extremely seriously. If it is not handled properly, the headquarters will directly hold him, the person in charge, accountable. But the next second, he could see that something was wrong. Yi Qianqian's brows furrowed, her expression became solemn, and then to an angry face. Su Xuan male god is my boyfriend. If you dare to deduct his bonus, I will never let you go. I will also report you to the relevant authorities. When Lu Dachuan heard this, he was stunned. All the couriers were also stunned. What's going on? I haven't heard that Su Xuan has a girlfriend recently. Hasn't he always advocated freedom and happiness? How come I suddenly have a girlfriend? Or is it this beautiful girl with amazing looks and invincible youth? They didn't know that Su Xuan also dumped a materialistic girl, Zhang Tingting, today. We've only known each other for an hour or two, so we can't be considered boyfriend and girlfriend. Su Xuan explained helplessly. But he had just finished speaking. Everyone was stunned again. What? We've only known each other for an hour or two. You just managed to get this incredibly pretty girl? Look at how people protect you. Obviously, he is following you. Everyone was envious and jealous, scratching their heads. This is so unfair. Does being handsome mean you can do whatever you want? How are we single guys supposed to live? Have you ever considered the feelings of us single people? I don't care. Yi Qianqian tightly held Su Xuan's arm. Liking you is my business, it's my freedom. If you have the guts, don't let me like you. I feel dizzy. My heart hurts so much. This situation made Lu Dachuan unable to remain calm. He leaned on the desk and took a sip of boiled water. He kind of regretted asking Su Xuan to come back for the meeting. This was simply a huge show-off scene for Su Xuan. No. We must teach Su Xuan a lesson. This is a workplace. This is not the place for you to show off. Su Xuan, tell me about yourself. Apart from being handsome, what else can you show off? Can you bring happiness to that little girl? Lu Dachuan said in a deep voice, when the little girl grows up and has seen the world, will she still be interested in you? Yes. Su Xuan, please don't harm the little girl. Unless your family suddenly has a mine. The couriers also echoed in a flattering manner. But it was mostly out of jealousy. I've studied abroad and have seen more of the world than you have. Yi Qianqian was unhappy when she heard this and retorted, I've had countless men chasing me, but I don't want to bother with any of them. I just like men like Su Xuan. Besides, Su Xuan is not only handsome, he also has. Yi Qianqian really wanted to tell Su Xuan about his billion-dollar luxury car. But he saw Su Xuan shaking his head at him. She immediately shut up. She thought about it and roughly understood what Su Xuan meant. Su Xuan didn't want everyone to know his financial background. Perhaps he was afraid that everyone's attitude towards him would change, which would make him very uncomfortable and affect his mood for work. Okay, this is all my personal business, let's have the meeting. Su Xuan said calmly. Let's have a meeting. Lu Dachuan cleared his throat. The shopping festival is about to begin. Our express delivery industry will face a big challenge, and our couriers. Lu Dachuan suddenly couldn't continue. He saw that the delivery guys didn't listen to him. They were all secretly looking at Yi Qianqian with distracted minds. A look of obsession. A look of intoxication. As for Yi Qianqian, she had already sat down with Su Xuan. Like a crazy fan, she held her little face with her two hands and looked at Su Xuan in ecstasy. Those present. Su Xuan was the only one listening to him. Damn it, this can't go on. Lu Dachuan slammed the table in annoyance, bent down and took out a bunch of advertising slogan stickers from under the table. Come and get one each, and stick it on your tricycles so that customers can see our attitude towards the shopping festival and our fighting spirit. Hurry. The young men then turned their eyes away from Yi Qianqian and lined up to get the stickers. Su Xuan, my male god, don't move, I'll help you get it. When Su Xuan was about to stand up and queue up, Yi Qianqian pressed the back of Su Xuan's hand with her small hand and volunteered to stand in line. Su Xuan shrugged helplessly. So troubled. When will I be able to become as pure as everyone else? As lonely as the snow? Oh, ladies first, you go first. Yes, ladies go first. We're not in a hurry. When the couriers saw Yi Qianqian coming to line up, they immediately gave up their seats and let Yi Qianqian sit first. Thank you everyone. You guys are such gentlemen and so cute. Yi Qianqian smiled sweetly and thanked him. When she smiles sweetly, her appearance is as good as 95 points. How can the couriers withstand it? They couldn't help but grin and laugh. Nimmer, look at all of you, how can you be so useless? We all come from the mountains, haven't you ever seen a pretty girl? Look at me, I didn't even look at this little girl. Seeing the looks of the crowd, Lu Dachuan immediately sneered. Hello, please give me one. The next second, Yi Qianqian stretched out her boneless jade hand in front of Lu Dachuan. How did this little hand grow? It's so beautiful. I really want to lick it. Lu Dachuan looked at Yi Qianqian's delicate hands from a close distance and suddenly couldn't control himself. A stream of sparkling saliva sliding down the corners of his mouth. The image is worse than that of all the couriers. A few minutes later, everyone got stickers. They all went outside to the yard and put stickers on their tricycles. Actually, after seeing the content on the sticker, no one wanted to put it on. Because there are few big words written on it. With smooth transportation, the mission will be accomplished. If the delivery is 1 second late, we will kill the courier. This content was thought up by Lu Dachuan. It's so abominable. Su Xuan didn't care about it, it was just a slogan. But what makes him so important is that. Where is his tricycle? He asked Li Ranran to help him deliver the tricycle, but where is the car? Su Xuan, where is your tricycle? Lu Dachuan also discovered this problem and felt that he had caught Su Xuan's weakness. Three-wheeled vehicle is the courier's life. The car is here and the people are there. The car was destroyed and people died. This. Su Xuan really didn't know how to answer for a moment. I planned to give Li Ranran a call to ask. Boss Su, I'm sorry. I encountered some trouble on the road, so I'm late in delivering your car. At this moment, there was a beautiful figure riding a tricycle into the public's field of vision. Everyone couldn't help but stare blankly again. Chapter 13. That's a nice car. This girl is so beautiful. A professional suit, neat and tidy. She's so beautiful when she rides a tricycle. Love it. When the courier saw the girl coming on a tricycle, they couldn't help but admire her. The person in charge, Lu Dachuan, couldn't help swallowing. This girl is his type. Age, early 20s. Long hair fluttering. The sight of him riding a tricycle reminded him of his first love. Bitter yet sweet. Then, he and a group of couriers watched the girl ride the tricycle next to Su Xuan. The girl was Li Ranran from Liker, Su Xuan's personal secretary. I came to the express delivery point with a tricycle on Su Xuan's orders. Boss Su, I'm sorry. I should have delivered the bike earlier, but halfway through the ride, the wheel was punctured by a piece of glass, so I found a place to get the tire repaired. After fixing the tire, I'm a little lost again. Li Ranran got off the tricycle, handed the tricycle key to Su Xuan, and explained apologetically. When she got off the car, her long legs were very eye-catching. It's okay, just deliver it. I don't blame you. Su Xuan took the key and whispered, remember, don't call me President Su outside. Yes, I understand, Mr. Su. Li Ranran blushed and nodded. Everyone saw this scene. The smell of vinegar suddenly filled the air. This beautiful girl. Are you here to look for Su Xuan as well? Boss Su is Su Xuan. He's just a courier like us, Mr. Su. The couriers were so devastated that their hands started shaking. I'm not in the mood to put stickers anymore. What is going on? I see. Lu Dachuan frowned and said in a deep voice, Su Xuan is too cunning. He must have made up an identity of a rich man and used this identity to deceive girls outside. Yes, that must be it. Such scammers are often exposed in the news. They cheated people out of money and sex, and even got many girls pregnant. It's so despicable. The couriers echoed this with deep conviction. You two should get to know each other. Su Xuan was too lazy to pay attention to Lu Dachuan and the others, and acted as an introducer between Yi Qianqian and Li Ranran. Yi Qianqian knew at a glance that Li Ranran was one of her own, not an enemy, and took the initiative to extend her hand to Li Ranran. Hello, beautiful lady, my name is Yi Qianqian, Su Xuan's friend. My name is Li Ranran, nice to meet you. Upon hearing that it was Su Xuan's friend, Li Ranran enthusiastically shook Yi Qianqian's hand. The two people seemed to hit it off immediately. Sister, let's help Su Xuan put on stickers. Okay. Two beauties of different ages, whose combined looks were almost 200 points, squatted beside the tricycle and helped Su Xuan put stickers on. Su Xuan stood aside with nothing to do. I looked up slightly at the sunset. A look of melancholy appeared between his brows. Why? My life is always entangled with women. So boring. Look at this. Su Xuan is showing off again. He came here on purpose to piss us off today. How could those two girls be so stupid that they didn't realize that he was just a poor bastard and a liar? The courier was putting stickers on, while mumbling. It was at this time that a group of people suddenly rushed into the express delivery point. The leader was a short-haired girl holding a microphone, with an incredibly beautiful face. There was a cameraman next to the girl. "Excuse me, who is the owner of the Koenigsegg outside?" "I'm Su Zimo, a reporter from the TV station." The girl with short hair looked at the couriers and asked. At the same time, he introduced himself. "We don't have any grouchy car owners here. They are all tricycle owners." "Are you in the wrong place?" Lu Dachuan explained with a dark face. At the same time he breathed a sigh of relief. I was worried that this pretty short-haired reporter was also looking for Su Xuan. But apparently not. Like everyone else, Su Xuan's only car is a tricycle. But then, something he could not expect happened. The beautiful reporter Su Zimo narrowed her eyes and scanned the people present. Then, she focused her gaze on Su Xuan. "Har, you should be the one I'm looking for. People say you're easy to find. No matter where you are as bright and outstanding as a firefly in the dark night. You can be recognized at a glance. So, you are the owner of the Koenigsegg, the handsome courier who climbed the building to save people." Walked in front of Su Xuan. Su Zimo said in a voice that sounded very sweet and crisp. After that, she glanced at Yi Qianqian again. Looked at Yi Qianqian's wrist. "It's a new bandage. You must be the little sister who committed suicide." "That's right, we found the person." Su Zimo became excited. The scene of Su Xuan climbing a tall building to save someone has been circulated on WeChat Moments. She immediately smelled the scent of breaking news. He immediately brought the news team out to find Su Xuan. As a result, he was unable to keep up with Su Xuan's pace. But fortunately, Su Xuan's car is highly recognizable. She asked along the way, found the hospital from Biswiliyuan, and then found this express delivery point from the hospital, and finally found Su Xuan. Is Su Xuan really the owner of some weird car? He also climbed a tall building to save people. The one who was saved was the little sister beside him. Lu Dachuan and a group of couriers were confused again. The female reporter was not only here to look for Su Xuan. Or is it for something so great? They looked at Su Xuan eagerly, waiting for Su Xuan's confirmation. "Why?" Su Xuan sighed sadly. "The old nest was found. Can't hide it anymore. We have no choice but to reveal our cards." "Good. I am the owner of a Koenigsegg. It's the courier who climbed the stairs to save people." Once the words are spoken, the cameraman immediately pointed the lens at Su Xuan's face. The beautiful reporter Su Zimo immediately handed the microphone to Su Xuan's mouth. Then, a lengthy interview begins. Lu Dachuan and a group of couriers squatted beside them, watching the beautiful reporter interview Su Xuan, with a look of bitterness, envy, and jealousy on their faces. But soon, they are proud again. Among the couriers, there are people like Su Xuan. It's actually giving them a gilded reputation invisibly. And Su Xuan is obviously going to be famous. They are all Su Xuan's buddies. How does that sentence go? One person attains enlightenment. Everyone will prosper. They will also benefit from it. Raw. Good thing. Great news. After interviewing Su Xuan, Su Zimo began to interview Lu Dachuan and others again. It would be good to understand Su Xuan from their side stories, making the image of Su Xuan more full. "Aham, I'm Su Xuan's leader, Lu Dachuan." As soon as he saw the microphone and camera pointed at him, Lu Dachuan immediately smoothed his hair and straightened his back. "Su Xuan is our outstanding employee. He is very enthusiastic and hardworking. He is a role model for all couriers. Of course, his ability to do such a noble thing is inseparable from my teachings." While praising Su Xuan, Lu Dachuan did not forget to flatter himself. He was sure that once the news was broadcast, headquarters would see it. His chance to become rich has come. "Then do you know that he is a wealthy man?" Su Zimo asked clearly, "Do you know that he drives a Koenigsegg worth 100 million yuan?" "What did you say?" Lu Dachuan almost collapsed to the ground. Fortunately, he was supported in time by the courier boy standing next to him. I know. After calming his mind, Lu Dachuan began to perform. Not only do I know. I've ridden in that car before. That's a nice car. Chapter 14. Can I have your WeChat? Su Xuan is my good brother. Our friendship is witnessed by the sun and the moon. We wear the same pants with Su Xuan every day. After interviewing Lu Dachuan, other couriers also rushed to the spotlight and expressed their opinions on Su Xuan, making the atmosphere extremely lively. The entire express delivery point instantly turned into a brotherhood. Su Xuan, I have something. After the interview, the pretty reporter Su Zimo called Su Xuan aside and asked a little embarrassedly, "Can I have your WeChat?" His shy attitude was completely different from his just capable demeanor. "Su Xuan, I only have one WeChat account. If I give it to you, I'll have nothing left." Su Zimo. Wooer. Handsome Su. Rich Su. Can you please stop being so cold? I, Su Zimo, have been working in the journalism industry for many years and have met countless important figures, but this is the first time I have taken the initiative to ask for someone else's WeChat. You can't just reject me so humorously, okay? Don't get me wrong, I don't want to pursue you. Su Zimo lifted the hair beside his ear and said with a flushed face, "After the sample of this interview is out, I want to show it to you as soon as possible. If you are satisfied, I will broadcast it on TV. I added WeChat just for this." All right. The other party did have a legitimate request. Su Xuan took out his mobile phone and pulled out the QR code of the business card. Su Zimo quickly scanned the code with his mobile phone. The moment Su Xuan passed the certification, her heart skipped a beat. Oops. It feels a bit like being in love. Goodbye, Su Xuan. Su Zimo glanced at Su Xuan with a red face, then fled in panic, completely ignoring his colleagues such as the cameraman. Su Xuan, good job. Lu Dachuan, I'm proud of you. Lu Dachuan walked up to Su Xuan and patted him on the shoulder. Su Xuan, were you scared when you rescued people? No wonder the girl likes you so much, it turns out you are the hero who saved the girl. This is truly a match made in heaven, so eye-catching and enviable. The other couriers also gathered around Su Xuan, talking about something in unison. Gurgle. Su Xuan didn't take these things seriously and rubbed his stomach. I'm hungry. Su Xuan, come on, I, as your leader, will treat you to dinner tonight. Let's go to the nearby mutton restaurant and have a good meal. When Lu Dachuan saw Su Xuan rubbing his belly, he generously offered to treat Su Xuan to a meal. Manager Lu, can we go? Yes, you can't invite Su Xuan alone. We also want to drink the mutton soup there. The other couriers also followed Su Xuan's example and started rubbing their stomachs. Aren't you tired of delivering packages today? There are more than 20 people. If we invite all of them, the cost will be quite high. Lu Dachuan said in embarrassment, why don't you go home and rest early? The couriers. Hello. Lu Dachuan, can you please not be so realistic? Now that you know Su Xuan is a wealthy man, you just try to curry favor with him and ignore your brothers who work hard for you. Let's not go to the mutton restaurant. Let's go somewhere else. Everyone should have a good drink today, no one should be left out. Su Xuan actually likes this group of brothers who work hard together, although they are also very realistic. I am now developed. We have to help them improve their lives. If you become rich and powerful, don't forget each other, right? Then where to go? Lu Dachuan was stunned. Let's go. Su Xuan glanced at Li Ranran, let's go to the Liker Hotel. Oh my god. Lu Dachuan began to feel dizzy again and hurriedly grabbed a tricycle. Where is Liker? Super 5-star hotel. A simple meal costs tens of thousands of dollars. 20 people eating together. The price is immeasurable. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. Oops, I almost forgot. Lu Dachuan was about to flee, staggering. He regretted offering to treat everyone. My wife is giving birth tonight, and I have to stay with her. Don't be afraid, I'll treat you. Su Xuan said calmly. Okay. Lu Dachuan stopped running away and became extremely excited. Brother Su is such a brother. Brother Su, we love you. Brother Su, let's become sworn brothers tonight. The couriers cheered and almost lifted Su Xuan up and threw him into the sky. They all know where Liker is. Every time I passed by Liker's door, I could only look at the rich people coming in and out with envy. But I never thought about going in and spending some money myself. I dare not think about it. No money either. But now Su Xuan has fulfilled their wish. How can I not be happy? Boss Su is going to bring more than 20 good brothers to have dinner at Liker, please let us know. As Su Xian's personal secretary, Li Ranran immediately reported the matter to Liu Ming. New. After Liu Ming hung up the phone, he immediately called a senior executive and said in a deep voice, "This is the first time that Mr. Su has brought his brothers to Liker for dinner. We must provide a good reception. We can't let President Su be dissatisfied in the slightest. We must not show our incompetence. Go get ready." The entire Ricardo Hotel immediately entered a state of combat readiness. Express delivery point. No one had time to change clothes. Except for Lu Dachuan, everyone else wore courier uniforms and split into several groups, taking taxis to Liker. "Su Xuan, can I sit on your gejejeji?" Lu Dachuan did not go with the courier boys, but pestered Su Xuan to ride in the Koenigsegg. "No." Su Xuan spread his hands. "Koenigsegg only has 2 seats, and we have to pull Yi Qianqian who is injured. Why don't you take a taxi and take Li Ranran with you?" Su Xuan suggested. "Can I?" Lu Dachuan was excited when he heard it, he liked Li Ranran very much. Being able to take a taxi with Li Ranran will be a wonderful memory for him throughout his life. "Let's go." Li Ranran was also afraid that Lu Dachuan would bother Su Xuan, so she waved to hail a taxi and got in first. "Here it comes." Lu Dachuan hurriedly got into the car. The space inside the car is small. Li Ranran's body fragrance permeated the air. Lu Dachuan was a little drunk even before he drank any alcohol. Lu Dachuan said to Li Ranran in a somewhat stupid tone, "Can I add your WeChat? If you have anything to send in the future, I will personally go and send it for you." Lu Dachuan couldn't help but started licking. "No." Li Ranran had a blank expression on her face. In her heart, there is only room for Su Xuan. The other men are not worth mentioning. "Then, what's your zodiac sign?" Lu Dachuan said, "I'm really good at calculating zodiac fortunes. Let me calculate it for you." "No." Li Ranran looked out the car window. "I saw a red supercar roaring past. It was almost dark now. That supercar is like an elf in the dark night, with great visual impact and infinite charm. That's Koenigsegg." Li Ranran, who had never ridden in a Koenigsegg, muttered to himself with great longing. "R." Lu Dachuan quickly stuck his head out of the car window, looked at the crimson taillights of Koenigsegg, and his eyes widened. It's such a special car. It's simply impossible to describe it in words. While being shocked by Koenigsegg's amazing appearance, he couldn't help but think, if you have a car like this, pick up the girl. It will definitely be more efficient, right? 10 minutes later, the couriers gathered in front of Liker's door. They still don't know that Su Xuan is the owner of this place. Chapter 15. Diamonds look down on platinum. What a gorgeous carpet. What a magnificent hall. What a beautiful receptionist. A group of couriers stood at the door of Likal, looking inside with shining eyes. They looked at their courier uniforms and dirty shoes again and did not dare to take a step inside. Boom! The Koenigsegg stopped in front of their hotel. Su Xuan brought Yi Qianqian out of the car and waved to the brothers. "Hey, go in." The couriers then grew bolder, and with a welcome from the tall receptionist, they followed Su Xuan into Likal, into a private room that looked as luxurious as a palace. The diamond chandelier on the ceiling dazzled them, as if they were dreaming. Minute sea cucumber. Papaya shark s fin. Australian lobster. Alaskan king crab. Laffat estate dry red wine. Under Liu Ming's special arrangement, a table of not particularly top-notch but extremely attentive delicacies was quickly presented, making the couriers who had just sat down at the table feel even more uneasy, not daring to move their knives and forks. "I'll help everyone share some. But don't worry," Li Ranran personally distributed the food to everyone and demonstrated how to eat it without leaving any trace. This allowed them to learn and experience the upper-class dining style in a short period of time. But what made Li Ranran distressed was that these guys in courier uniforms. Drinking wine is like drinking beer. When toasting Su Xuan, everyone drank every cup. Dry till there is not a drop left. A bottle of wine costs more than 2,000 yuan. It didn't take long before he spent tens of thousands of dollars. "Brother Su, drink this cup again. Our friendship will last forever. If you need my help in the future, just ask me. I will stand by you and fight for you even if it means my death." The delivery guys toasted Su Xuan with wine and said some righteous words. How do you know how much alcohol you drank? Only Lu Dachuan secretly scanned the code on the red wine with his mobile phone. His face changed again and again. When he drank the red wine, he began to taste it slowly and did not forget to lick the wine on his lips with his tongue. Every drop of it is money. Su Xuan also accepted everyone who came. Yi Qianqian, who was sitting next to Su Xuan, felt distressed. She quietly pulled Su Xuan's hand and said, "Drink less. I wanted you to take me home." After an hour or two, everyone was almost drunk. The table was also a mess. They suddenly became nervous. This meal must be very expensive. Would Su Xuan pay for it? Let's go, next game. What they didn't expect was that Su Xuan didn't pay the bill, but took them upstairs to play bowling, indoor golf, sing KTV, and steam sauna. When singing in KTV, everyone was distracted because their attention was attracted by the princess. The princess had a slender waist and was wearing a white dress. She was so beautiful that she looked like she had walked out of a fairy tale castle. While you are in the sauna, there are foreign technicians of all skin colors giving you back and shoulder massages. It is such a pleasure. Is this how the rich live? Love it. At the end, they were sad again. How I wish I could play a little longer. Even just one more minute of play would be great. Not enough fun. I really haven't had enough fun. Boss Su, this is arranged by Boss Liu. He said it's a souvenir for everyone. Li Ranran secretly handed a stack of membership cards to Su Xuan. Do you think it's suitable? There's nothing inappropriate about it. Su Xuan glanced at the stack of membership cards calmly. Please help me distribute them. Good. Li Ranran gave each person a membership card. He also specifically told them that it was a gift from Su Xuan to everyone as a souvenir. This card is not a stored value card and has no money in it, but it allows one to enjoy certain privileges, such as booking one's favorite private room, entertainment venue, favorite princess, skilled technician in advance. It can distinguish one from ordinary guests and is undoubtedly a symbol of status. This card is so beautiful. Thank you, Brother Su. Thank you, Brother Su. The couriers took the card and thanked Su Xuan one after another. They can only keep the card as a souvenir because they will never come to Likely to spend money themselves. Lu Dachuan checked it again on his mobile phone, and his face changed again. What Su Xuan gave them was a diamond card. Only those who spend 10 million in Leica are eligible to own it. What is the concept? You need to spend almost as much as a big house to be eligible for such a card. He carefully put the card into his pocket, treating it as a treasure. At the same time, he couldn't help but guess Su Xuan's identity. What kind of terrifying power does it possess? To get so many diamond cards. Just like handing out small cards in a hotel, giving one to each of them without any hesitation. So luxurious. That's too overbearing. Of course, what does Su Xuan do? Lu Dachuan asked Li Ranran secretly. Li Ranran, why do you want to know? Lu Dachuan, so how much did we spend tonight? Li Ranran, keep it a secret. That being said. But Li Ranran really wanted to tell Lu Dachuan that if they played like this tonight, it would be enough for them to save up for several years. This doesn't even include the added value of the membership card. Su is always happy. Li Ranran secretly glanced at Su Xuan, who was smiling, and murmured, as long as President Su is happy, everything is worth it. In fact, Li Ranran didn't know. There is still 1 billion in cash on Su Xuan's card. If he spends 3 million to treat his friends now, it's just like an ordinary person spending a few $dozen to treat his friends to a spicy hot pot meal. Boom. After the show, while sending everyone downstairs, Su Xuan accidentally bumped into a man. The man was big and strong, with a solid body, but he was still knocked off balance by Su Xuan. The reason is simple. Every time Su Xuan received a reward, his physical fitness would be improved by 1 point, surpassing that of ordinary people. Have you grown eyes? The man was full of aura and pointed at Su Xuan's face and scolded him. Before Su Xuan could speak, he glanced at the delivery guys again. This is Leica, what are you guys doing here delivering packages? What do you think this place is? A food stall. Be careful what you say. The couriers immediately became unhappy. Everyone is ready to go. Who said couriers can't come to Leica? Su Xuan signaled everyone not to be impulsive, and he originally wanted to apologize to the man. After all, he was a customer of his hotel and he would not offend him if possible. But after hearing what the other party said, he was unhappy because he was also a courier. Who made this rule? The man took out his wallet and pulled out a golden membership card. Have you seen this? A platinum card. If you don't have this, you are not eligible to come to Leica. His card is a platinum card, which can only be obtained after spending 5 million. He also asked his clients to save for a year before they could save enough for a platinum card. No. If you don't have any, get out now. Don't dirty the ground here. Seeing the couriers looking at each other in confusion, the man raised his head proudly. I am very successful in pretending to be awesome. He also likes to show off in front of poor people. This gives him a sense of pleasure of trampling on primates, and a feeling of being an emperor above all others. But the next second, he suddenly became stupid. Each courier took out a card and waved it in front of him. The light emitted by those cards merged into one, extremely dazzling. Ha! There are diamonds on our card. It looks like a diamond card. Isn't the diamond card better than his platinum card? Of course diamonds are better than platinum. Just like playing King of Glory, diamonds don't look down on platinum. Chapter 16. There are people you can't afford to offend. Are they all wealthy people? Are you cosplaying as a courier here? Or did I drink too much tonight and have hallucinations? Looking at the diamond card in the courier's hand, the man rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Honey, what are you doing here? At this time, a woman in a short skirt with a charming figure came over and leaned on the man drunkenly. Oh, you are showing off your platinum card again. Seeing the platinum card in the man's hand, the woman said tenderly, you must use this card to book a luxurious presidential suite for me later. I will serve you tonight. The woman suddenly saw the diamond card in the courier boy's hand and her eyes widened. She had only known the man for 2 days, and the man invited her to dinner here tonight. During the meal, the man kept showing off his platinum card to her, saying that in order to own this card, one must spend 5 million in Leica, and that it was a symbol of status. But the courier guy had a diamond card in his hand. How much does a diamond card cost? Honey, how come people like them all have diamond cards? You are better than them. The woman shook the man's arm. You should get a diamond card too. Man. Delivery boy, if you can do it, do it. Su Xuan couldn't help but laugh and said to the man, spend within your means and don't spend impulsively. The man's face suddenly drooped. I'm over 40 years old, I have my own company, I have clients all over the country, and the girl I just hooked up is right next to me. Now is the time for me to show off, and you want me to do what I can? Top up. I want to top up 5 million. I want to upgrade my platinum card to a diamond card. The man pulled out a bank card from his wallet, held it high and shouted. Recharging is the most direct way to upgrade. A waiter heard the noise and hurried over, helped the man swipe his card, and issued a diamond card on the spot. This big brother is so rich. 5 million. He just said he would recharge it. Instantly upgrade platinum to diamond. The courier boy was scared. Because their diamond cards were given by Su Xuan, and they didn't spend a penny. Now when I see others recharging with real money, I feel really shocked. Yes. Lu Dachuan said faintly, now he is the same as us, both have diamond cards, so this is a draw, let's go our separate ways and go back to our own homes. Honey, they say you're just like them. How annoying. The woman shook the man's arm again. You're a big boss. How can you be just like the courier? How about you upgrade your card? The woman didn't know that what she said was a divine assist. It is to create profits for Su Xuan. None of you leave. I'll charge another 5 million. Upgrade to star card. The man was instigated and took out his bank card and started shouting. Above the diamond card is the more noble star card. The level coincides with the king's rank. The waiter quickly paid the man another 5 million yuan to upgrade his card to a star card. Har har, you little bastards. See. I'm now a star. If you have the guts, take out your star cards. The man held up the star-studded star card and showed it off proudly. Especially when he looked at Su Xuan, his eyes were full of provocation. But he didn't know. Su Xuan is like our S-boss. You can easily take out more advanced cards. The King of the World card. Even the most top and mysterious ones. I'm the only one card. Those who possess the exclusive card need to spend 50 million. Every time such people come to Leica to spend money, they need the top management of Leica, or even Liu Ming, to come out and toast them, and they must be given enough face. Also, the man didn't know that he had recharged 5 million twice, which was enough to offset Su Xuan's spending tonight. Su Xuan made even more money. Boss Su is really amazing. Li Ranran looked at Su Xuan with great admiration. Can this effect be achieved by just bumping into anyone? Not only did I not suffer any loss and make a lot of money. This is a body that brings money-making ability. No wonder he can easily buy liquor and drive $1 billion supercar. Boss Su. Li Ranran secretly pulled Su Xuan and put 5 "I am the only one" cards into Su Xuan's hand. Boss Liu asked me to give this to you after the show. I'm giving it to you now. You can use this card to scare him again. Puff. Su Xuan couldn't help but laugh. Li Ranran was quite a quirky guy. Okay? Then use the Duzun card to teach the other party a lesson. I hope he won't look down on others like this again. Su Xuan took the 5 exclusive cards, drew out only one, and waved it in front of the man. The next second, the man who was showing off his star card was struck by lightning. He stared at the exclusive card in Su Xuan's hand, motionless. He naturally knew the importance of the exclusive card. You have to spend 50 million to own it. This number is beyond his reach. He just spent the 10 million on impulse and used up the money he had saved for a long time. It was already the limit and he felt extremely distressed. Let him upgrade the star card to a unique card. Don't think about it. I want T upgrade even if you kill me. You, who are you? The man became timid, his aura suddenly lost, and he asked Su Xuan in a listless and fearful manner. I'm just a courier. Su Xuan said calmly. This is not really a lie, because he is really a courier now. I don't believe it. Men naturally don't believe it. Even if Su Xuan is really a courier, he is not an ordinary courier. He might be the child of the boss of a courier company, a rich second generation beyond imagination. I didn't lie to you. Su Xuan said, if you are unhappy because I bumped into you, I can apologize to you, but please don't underestimate anyone. There are hidden dragons and crouching tigers in every industry. There are extraordinary people, and there are also people you can't afford to offend. Yes, yes. The man nodded hurriedly. I think what Su Xuan said makes a lot of sense. Because Su Xuan is someone he can't afford to offend now. Su Xuan, then let's go our separate ways. Man, let us go. Then the man took the woman away. But he didn't take 2 steps, and turned back, walked in front of Su Xuan, and presented his business card to Su Xuan with both hands. This is my business card, please accept it, maybe we will have business cooperation opportunities in the future. Okay. Su Xuan took the man's business card. I couldn't help but look up to the man. A man who is still thinking about expanding his career at this time is worthy of respect. But what he just did was indeed too impulsive and definitely not worthy of praise or imitation. Do you have a business card? The man rubbed his hands and asked Su Xuan. No. Su Xuan, who had drunk a lot of wine tonight, shook his head. Just think of my face as my business card. Sure, sure. The man looked at Su Xuan's face and said enviously, your looks are definitely worthy of an exclusive card. I have 5. Su Xuan played the 5 chapter exclusive cards casually as if he was playing poker. Hiss. The man immediately took a breath of cold air. Then he quickly reached out and held Su Xuan's hand and shook it hard. Big shot. Su Xuan is truly a big shot beyond his imagination. Then, everyone said goodbye peacefully. Su Xuan saw Lu Dachuan and the others off. But he was drunk and couldn't drive Yi Qianqian, and the wind made him even more drunk. Yi Qianqian. Su Xuan stood at the door of Liker, looking at the brightly lit city night scene, and said, let's sleep in Liker tonight. Yi Qianqian raised her head suddenly. Beautiful eyes sparkle. Chapter 17. Are you afraid of sleeping alone? God, Su Xuan, you tormenting little monster. This night, Yi Qianqian lay on the bed, uttering an uncontrollable sound of anger. Su Xuan said he slept with her in Liker. What's the result? The result is that each person gets a presidential suite. We didn't even sleep together. Should I? Looking at the time, it was already 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. An idea suddenly came to Yi Qianqian's mind. Should I knock on Su Xuan's door? And him? Even if we don't do anything, it's nice to just lie together and chat. No. But she immediately dismissed the idea. Taking the initiative to deliver it to someone's door will make you seem casual and not serious. Unless she wants to have a fleeting romance with Su Xuan. But once it's a one-shot romance, the chances of being together for a lifetime are slim. After careful consideration, Yi Qianqian lay obediently on the bed and closed her eyes. But after turning over more than 10 times, she opened her eyes again. Tonight, Su Xuan drank a lot of wine. Will you be thirsty? Did you remember to drink water? What if he can't take care of himself? Go and give him a glass of water. Yi Qianqian poured a cup of hot water, held it carefully, and knocked on Su Xuan's door. What's up? Su Xuan opened the door without a shirt on and reeking of alcohol. Wow! What attractive lines! What attractive abs! Why is he in such good shape? As soon as she saw Su Xuan's upper body, Yi Qianqian couldn't help swallowing. Su Xuan's figure is as dazzling as Victoria's male model. Little did she know that Su Xuan's physique had been strengthened by the system and was far superior to that of ordinary people. My dear, I brought you some water. I was afraid you drank too much and forgot to drink some water. Yi Qianqian lowered her eyebrows and said in a pleasing manner. Oh, I really forgot to drink it. Su Xuan took the water from Yi Qianqian, drank it all, then handed the cup to Yi Qianqian and touched her head. Thank you. Hee, you're welcome. Yi Qianqian was so delighted by Su Xuan's touch that she took the cup of water and walked away in a daze. Hey, why am I back? But as soon as she returned to her room, she suddenly realized. How nice it would have been if I had taken the opportunity to walk into Su Xuan's room just now. You can look at Su Xuan's figure for a while longer. No. One more trip to go. Yi Qianqian made another cup of coffee, knocked on Su Xuan's door again, and handed him the coffee. Su Xuan gulped down the coffee again. My God, that. Seeing Su Xuan was about to close the door after finishing his coffee, Yi Qianqian got anxious and said, Are you afraid of sleeping alone? Do you want me to go into your room and give you some courage? No need, the security here is very dedicated. Su Xuan reached out and closed the door. He really drank too much and felt weak all over. He had no energy to do anything and felt like vomiting from time to time. To put it bluntly, even if a fairy was placed on his bed, he would be powerless. It was already quite good that he did not fall down on the spot after being toasted by more than 20 men. Of course, if you are in good health. He didn't mind letting Yi Qianqian come into the room and stay for a while. He also has a good impression of this little girl. Oh. Yi Qianqian lowered her head and returned to her room. After 2 failures, she couldn't help but feel discouraged. For the last time. If you can't do it, just go to sleep by yourself. Yi Qianqian thought for a while, peeled a few more fruits, and walked towards Su Xuan's room with the fruit plate. Then I was dumbfounded. She sorely ran also holding a fruit plate. Standing at Su Xuan's door. Raising his little hand and about to knock on the door. Both girls were carrying fruit plates. Looking at each other. All blushed. The next day, Su Xuan walked out of Liker in high spirits. After driving the Koenigsegg to send Yi Qianqian, who had dark circles under her eyes for some reason, home, he arrived at the express delivery point. Good morning, Su. Thanks for your hospitality last night, you're such a good brother. Brother Su, do you want me to help you share some of the packages? As soon as he arrived at the delivery point, the delivery guys surrounded him and greeted him enthusiastically. Some even wanted to help him share the packages. How can this be possible? He gets rewarded by delivering packages. As long as he keeps upgrading the system, there will be more interesting and mysterious things waiting for him. You are welcome. Everyone, get busy. Su Xuan counted his packages and put them on the tricycle. The reason why it is not put on Koenigsegg is that there are too many packages and Koenigsegg cannot fit them all. What he didn't expect was that. I worked hard delivering packages all day, but I didn't become a super courier and naturally didn't get any rewards. Could it be that my good luck has run out? The next day, he loaded a tricycle with express parcels and started to get busy. When passing an intersection, he saw a fellow traveler. A courier wearing a mask. Brother, you are so handsome, why don't you wear a mask? While waiting for the traffic light, the courier uncle started chatting with Su Xuan. Wear a mask. Su Xuan was a little confused. What was the connection between wearing a mask and his handsome looks? It's like this. The courier took off his mask, lit a cigarette, and told a short story. I'm divorced and dating a very beautiful woman. One day, I was riding a tricycle on the road and was seen by that woman. After that, she never talked to me again. Su Xuan, oh. The courier said, so, since you are so handsome, you'd better wear a mask to cover your face, so as not to be recognized by acquaintances. I am a lesson learned from this. The green light is on. The courier rode away on his tricycle, raising a cloud of dust. Good man. Su Xuan also continued riding his tricycle. But I don't know if the uncle was right, but when I was waiting for the traffic light at the next intersection, a BMW 530 rolled down its window. Su Xuan, is that you, Su Xuan? A man in luxurious clothes took off his sunglasses and waved to Su Xuan through the car window. It was Su Xuan's high school class monitor, Liu Yiming. Su Xuan. This is such a coincidence. I had just passed an intersection when I was recognized. I was still recognized by a classmate who drove a BMW. What's more interesting is that there was also a woman sitting in the BMW, wearing all branded clothes and looking very elegant. She was also his high school classmate, Chen Jingjing. Chen Jingjing recognized Su Xuan, and a strange light flashed in her eyes. She greeted him, Su Xuan, we haven't seen each other for a long time. How are you? Su Xuan was also very handsome when he was in high school and was recognized as the school's most handsome boy. He was also very good at studying, and she secretly liked him. How come you're delivering parcels on a tricycle? Su Xuan replied, very good. Good? This must be a trick, right? Liu Yiming and Chen Jingjing looked at each other. You're doing express delivery, is everything going well? There is a slogan on your tricycle. 1 second late. Just take a courier boy as a sacrifice. Such a tragic situation. You still say it's good. Su Xuan, I wanted to call you to tell you something, but now that I've run into you, I'll just tell you in person. After glancing at the traffic light, Liu Yiming quickly said, our high school class teacher, Mr. Wang Xing'an, has cancer and will go to the 3rd Municipal Hospital the day after tomorrow. The students plan to accompany Mr. Wang to see the doctor. See you at the gate of the 3rd Municipal Hospital at 8 o'clock the day after tomorrow. Don't forget. The green light is on. Liu Yiming stepped on the accelerator and drove away with a rumble. Teacher Wang. A memory. It emerged in Su Xuan's mind. Chapter 18 Another Super Express. Teacher Wang. Su Xuan recalled an old story. When he was in high school, a few school bullies picked on him, blocked him in the corridor and wanted to beat him up. The reason for beating him was simple. Just because the girlfriend of one of the school bullies looked at him a few more times. It was Teacher Wang who happened to pass by, waved his hand, and drove away those school bullies, allowing him to escape this unexpected disaster. It's just one of those things. One more thing. Once he had a high fever and Teacher Wang carried him on his back and jogged all the way to the school infirmary. He remembered that when he got off Teacher Wang's back was soaked. Teacher Wang even paid for his medical expenses. Teacher Wang is such a good person. Oh my god, how could you let him get cancer? Su Xuan looked at the sky with a heavy expression. At 8 o'clock the day after tomorrow morning, he will definitely go to the 3rd Municipal Hospital to pick up Teacher Wang. If Mr. Wang needs money urgently, he will pay any amount of money. Then, he delivered the express until noon. However, he still failed to motivate the super courier and get any reward, so he couldn't help feeling a little listless. Brother Su, I'm in some trouble, can you help me? Just as he was about to have lunch, his colleague Niu Daily called him. What trouble? Su Xuan asked. Niu Daily was tall and strong with a simple character. He was considered his best colleague and was very caring towards him on weekdays. Whenever he needed anything heavy or bulky, Niu Daily would rush to help him deliver it. He even helped him block the wine when they were drinking last night. Now that he was in trouble, he had to help. Hey, you can't even explain it clearly. Can you come over? Niu Daily said on the phone. By the way, don't wear the courier uniform. Just pretend you're not a courier. Niu. When Su Xuan heard this, he vaguely realized something. It is very likely that Niu Daily has been embarrassed and bullied. I want to find someone with a lot of momentum to help him hold the scene. Working in the courier industry, I meet a lot of people and encounter a lot of things, both good and bad. Next. Not only did Su Xuan not wear a courier uniform, he also went to the mall and bought a suit worth 20,000 yuan, and even drove a Koenigsegg. Then he drove to Niu Daily's place. At the gate of a residential area. Nyo Daly squatted beside the tricycle, smoking a cigarette, looking like a punched bag. In front of Nyo Daly, there stood a man in his 30s, pointing at Nyo Daly and scolding him. Boom! Su Xuan parked the Koenigsegg directly next to Nyo Daly's tricycle and got out of the car in a suit and tie. What's going on, Daly? Su Xuan pulled Nyo Daly up and asked. Brother Su, you are here. Seeing Su Xuan coming, Nyo Daly was delighted. He glanced at the man and explained, when I handed him the package, he didn't catch it and it fell to the ground, breaking a bowl inside. He wouldn't let me go and insisted that I kneel down and apologize to him. Not asking you to pay compensation. Su Xuan asked. He said I can't even afford to pay for my life. Nyo Daly's hands were shaking a little. Where's the bowl? Here. Nyo Daly took a package from the tricycle. Su Xuan took the package and opened it. Inside was an old porcelain bowl. Can't tell the age. There is a relatively new crack on the bowl. Maybe it just fell out. Su Xuan didn't know how to identify cultural relics and didn't know how much this porcelain bowl was worth. But he guessed that the bowl was not valuable. Otherwise, the man would not have refused compensation and just asked Nyo Daly to kneel down and apologize. The man most likely just wanted to make things difficult for Nyo Daly. Brother, tell me the truth. Su Xuan stood in front of the man. How much did you pay for this bowl? It's expensive. It's outrageous. The man pretended to be angry, but in front of Su Xuan, this anger seemed unfounded and somewhat fake. This is indeed the case. As soon as the man saw Su Xuan driving over in a Koenigsegg and wearing a very expensive suit, he knew at first glance that he was not an ordinary person and someone who was not to be messed with. At the same time, he was also very puzzled. How could a Korea guy know someone as impressive as Su Xuan? Judging from the expressions on their faces when they were talking, it was obvious that they had a close relationship. Even a sky-high price has to have a price. Su Xuan frowned. This bowl. Seeing Su Xuan's stern face, the man was inexplicably frightened and stammered, this bowl was not bought, but has been passed down in my family for several generations. It is a family heirloom, and its value is inestimable. You can't afford to pay for it. Okay. Seeing that the man still refused to tell the truth, Su Xuan suddenly asked, do you know the 12 zodiac animal heads in the old summer palace? I know, what's the matter, the man said. The bronze statues of the 12 zodiac animals in the old summer palace were originally part of the fountain outside the Haiyan Hall in the old summer palace. They were cast in red bronze during the Qianlong period of the Qing dynasty. In 1860, the British and French Allied forces invaded China and burned down the old summer palace. The bronze statues began to be lost overseas. Then let me ask you, can your bowl compare to the bronze horse head statue? Su Xuan said. That's definitely not as good as it can be, said the man. Yes. Su Xuan nodded. Back then, a wealthy man named he bought the bronze horse head statue for 69.1 million Hong Kong dollars. So, your bowl is not worth 69.10 Hong Kong dollars, right? Other man scratched his head, right. Then look at how much money I have. Su Xuan took out his cell phone, opened the text message about his bank card balance, and handed it to the man to read. Hiss. It took the man a long time to count the remaining balance, and he immediately gasped. It's actually 1 billion. Su Xuan is actually worth at least 1 billion. It's so terrifying. He has lived for more than 30 years, but this is the first time he has met someone worth billions. So, you still think I can't afford the compensation? Su Xuan took back his phone and smiled. I can afford it. The man immediately became honest. Your money is enough to buy a dozen bronze horse head statues. Well, you can name a price for your bowl now. Su Xuan said mysteriously, I'll give you whatever price you name. But? Su Xuan changed the subject again, I will ask an antique appraiser to appraise it later. If this bowl is not worth that much money, we will see you in court. Don't. The man panicked and waved his hands, saying, no need to pay, you don't have to pay a penny. His bowl is just a decorative imitation of an antique and is not worth anything at all. It would be a waste of time to take yourself to court just for a bowl like this. You don't either. Su Xuan said coldly, who asked my brother to kneel down and apologize just now. I'm sorry. The man immediately nodded and bowed to apologize to Nyo Daly. Not sincere enough. Su Xuan said suddenly. I'm sorry. The man bent down deeply and bowed sincerely to Nyo Daily to apologize. Nyo Daily didn't look at the man, but looked at Su Xuan like a woman. Su Xuan actually helped him settle such a terrible matter so calmly. The look he gave Su Xuan was filled with gratitude, admiration, and happiness. Then, the man blushed and turned around to leave. Don't go. Su Xuan picked up the bowl and handed it to the man. Don't you want your bowl? The man stretched out his hands to catch the bowl and ran away. Then, ding, congratulations to their host for completing a super express delivery. Chapter 19 Why did you hit me? Ding, their host has completed a super delivery. Ding, rewarding their host with 8% of Kangnai Private Hospital's shares, ranking as the 5th largest shareholder. Ding, the progress of the first stage mission is for 10. A series of pleasant prompt sounds kept ringing in Su Xuan's mind. This made Su Xuan a little confused. Helping Nyo Daily pass a broken bowl to someone else actually triggered a super express delivery. Is this okay? And Kangnai Private Hospital? Su Xuan, who had a melancholy temperament, had a look of astonishment on his face. He knows Kangnai Private Hospital. Not only do I know it, it is no exaggeration to say that it is well known to me. Kangnai Private Hospital was introduced from abroad. It has top medical resources and internationally advanced medical technology. It is a medical institution that meets international standards. It has recruited a large number of famous experts, and has achieved amazing results in the fields of cardiovascular, orthopedics, gynecology, neurology, nephrology, cancer oncology, etc. Not to mention its luxurious medical environment. It is no exaggeration to say that staying in Kangnai Private Hospital is like staying in a star-rated hotel. Kangnai Private Hospital has an advertising slogan. Connell. So comfortable that you forget the pain. A large number of celebrities, wealthy people and dignitaries love to go to Kangnai to check in and see a doctor. This is definitely a symbol of status. Since it has 5 or 6 branches across the country, the 8% stake that Su Xuan got is not a small amount, and the 5th largest shareholder is an existence beyond imagination. You can ask Teacher Wang to go to Kangnai for treatment. Su Xuan couldn't help but think of Teacher Wang. The 3rd municipal hospital that Mr. Wang wants to go to is also good. But compared with Connell, it's just a dwarf compared to a giant. So, he made a plan to discuss the matter with Teacher Wang after meeting him the day after tomorrow. He believed that Teacher Wang would change his original plan. So, how much will my worth increase from this? Afterwards, Su Xuan couldn't help but take out his mobile phone to check the market value of Kangnai, wanting to see how much this reward could increase his net worth. Then, he was shocked to find that his net worth had soared by at least 5 billion. Plus the car. Plus the cash on your bank card. His wealth is already astonishing. Certainly. Compared with the world's richest man, his net worth of nearly 10 billion is not even a fraction of his. But at least this is a big step towards becoming the world's richest person. I don't like being too rich. I just like to bring happiness to others after I become rich. As long as everyone in this world is happy, I will be happier. Su Xuan murmured to himself. If someone else heard what he said, others will definitely beat him to death. I've seen someone show off. I've never seen you so cocky. Do you really want to bring happiness to others after you become rich? You actually want to show off in front of others, right? What's wrong with you, kid? Brother Su, what's wrong with you? Nyo Daily noticed that Su Xuan was a little abnormal and called Su Xuan twice. Oh, nothing. Su Xuan returned to his usual calm demeanor, glanced at the time, it was time for lunch, and waved at Nyo Daily. Let's go, I'll treat you to a feast. Don't, Brother Su. Nyo Daily was too embarrassed to let Su Xuan pay for the meal again, so he pulled Su Xuan's arm and said, You've helped me a lot, so I must pay for this meal, no discussion. Next, the two went to a ramen restaurant. Ordered a spicy chicken. The reason why it is so simple is that Su Xuan doesn't want Nyo Daily to spend money. Nyo Daily is almost 30 and still not married. I have been saving money to marry a wife. Then, the two of them started eating slowly. Wow, this little brother is so handsome. His lips, his eyes, his temperament, they are all so attractive. I can't watch this anymore, Love it. There were 2 girls dressed like students sitting in the ramen restaurant. One of the girls with twin ponytails drooled at Su Xuan. At the same time, she also told her best friend next to her, wanting her to also appreciate this rare handsome guy. Really? How can he be so handsome? As soon as I saw him, I stopped liking my celebrity opper and started liking him. I really want to get his WeChat. I want to chat with him all night long. My best friend couldn't keep calm when she saw me. Her eyes were shining and her little hands holding the chopsticks were shaking. No wonder they are so restless. It was actually that Su Xuan had received another reward, and his physique was strengthened again, which made his appearance and temperament even better, and his whole body exuded an indescribable charming temperament. The young girl who had never seen the world saw it. How could I resist? How can I not be moved? I want his WeChat too. The girl with twin ponytails couldn't help but speak. Next. They quickly made a plan. That is, how can I get Su Xuan's WeChat? Plan A, start. 2 or 3 minutes later, the girl with twin ponytails took the lead in launching the attack. Little brother, can you help me? She walked to Su Xuan's dining table and played with her twin ponytails with her little hands, looking silly and adorable. What's wrong, little sister? Su Xuan looked up and glanced at the girl. Girl, I lost something. Su Xuan, what is it? Girl, your WeChat ID. Su Xuan. Going here. The girl with twin ponytails turned her head and glanced at her best friend. Her best friend clasped her hands in front of her chest and made a gesture of encouragement to her. Har. Su Xuan never thought that he would be tricked by a little girl. He laughed and said, I really saw what you lost, but before I give it to you, I want to test you. No problem. The girl with twin ponytails raised her pretty face. She is a top student. Arts and science are no problem. Then I'll start the test. Su Xuan picked up a piece of spicy chicken and put it in his mouth. What is pie? Oh, what beautiful lips. Seeing Su Xuan's lips sparkling because of the spicy chicken, the girl with twin ponytails was in a trance. Such lips are simply a work of art. It would be great if I could see them every day. Well, will it? Pie? I know. The girl came to her senses and said immediately, 3.141592653588979. She originally wanted to say March 14th. But in order to make Su Xuan look at him with a higher regard, he memoized a few more. Not bad. Su Xuan said, what about the next 30? The next 30. The girl with twin ponytails was stunned. I can't memorize it. Then can you recite it? Afraid that Su Xuan would drive her away, the girl with twin ponytails immediately asked Su Xuan back. Yes. Su Xuan took a sip of warm water. 3.1415926535897932338 for 626 for 3383279502888 for 1971. In the blink of an eye, Su Xuan memoized nearly 100 digits of pi. Not only did his physical fitness improve, but his memory also improved. He could now recite the things he had memoized as a child, as if he was reading from a book. This made him want to deliver more express deliveries. Juo has completed the task. You are awesome. Do you have a computer in your brain? The girl with twin ponytails was stunned. She knew she had failed. Be willing to accept defeat. He returned to his table dejectedly. Plan B, proceed. Her best friend hurriedly put on some makeup to make herself look mature and elegant. She thought Su Xuan didn't like childish girls like those with twin pigtails. Then, she walked to Su Xuan's dining table. Little brother. The best friend pouted and asked calmly, why did you hit me? Su Xuan? Girlfriend, you touched my heart. Puff. Neo Daily, who had been watching the show. I can't bear it any longer. I spit out a piece of chicken bone in my mouth. Chapter 20. What is that sword? Why are you laughing? Is it funny? The best friend with twin ponytails glared at Neo Daily fiercely. Neo Daily immediately lowered his head and pretended to eat. But he kept sighing in his heart. Why? Why is there such a big gap between people? The girls all tried their best to pursue Su Ji. And if I just smiled, the girl would glare at me. If I could have 1/10 of Su Ji's appearance and temperament. Why worry about this? Why worry about being a single dog? Gurgle. Neo Daily reached out and grabbed the water glass on the table, and took a big gulp as if he was drinking a bottle of wine. I didn't hit you. Facing the girl's tricks, Su Xuan smiled and said, it didn't impress you either. How do you know that I haven't been touched? Hearing Su Xuan say this, the girl seemed to have seized an opportunity and blinked cunningly. Are you and I in tune with each other and connected in heart? Su Xuan. Girls nowadays are so amazing. He is so good at playing tricks. How are you going to compensate me? You beat me pretty hard. The girl raised her beautiful chin proudly, very satisfied with her performance. Awesome. Worship, worship. The girl with twin ponytails couldn't help but give her bestie a thumbs up. My best friend's fighting ability is obviously one level higher than mine. I can compensate you. Su Xuan curled his lips and said, but before I compensate you, I have to test you. How about that? Take the test, I'm not afraid. As the best friend of the girl with twin ponytails, her academic performance is also very good. But you can't test me in math. The girl added one more sentence. A terrifying guy who can memorize the 100th digit of pi. Math must be scary too. I must never fight him in the field he is good at. Su Xuan, then let me test you on Chinese. Girl, no problem. She has always been the top student in her grade in Chinese. He can easily choose words, compose sentences, and write poems and songs. I have been the Chinese class representative for 15 consecutive years. The girl confidently straightened her beautiful breasts. Have you ever heard a poem? Su Xuan tapped his fingertips lightly on the dining table and began to recite. The body of a young lady is like butter. With the sword at my waist I can kill fools. Although no one is seen falling. I will secretly make your bones dry. I. The girl blushed slightly. Of course I have heard of it, what's the matter? The source of this poem is a very good classic, Golden Bottle Plum. Then tell me, the sword on your waist that kills fools, what does this sword refer to? Su Xuan raised his deep eyes, looked at the girl and asked. Sword. The girl frowned. I even subconsciously looked at my slender waist. Then. She suddenly realized something. My face turned red all of a sudden. Brother, I understand what you mean. The girl lowered her head inexplicably and said shyly, thank you for your teaching, we will be good and study hard in the future. Then. The girl returned to her table. He whispered a few words to his twin-tailed companion. The girl with twin ponytails fell into deep thought. Then there was a look of sudden enlightenment. When the meal is finished. They held hands, thanked Su Xuan again, and left with an inexplicable happiness on their faces. Brother Su. After watching the girl leave, Nyo Daily scratched his head and asked in confusion. What on earth is that sword? Why did she blush and stop pestering you when you asked her that? I was actually very happy in the end, as if. It's as if I was enlightened by a great monk. He really couldn't figure it out. The scene just now seemed like a profound Zen thought. It's actually very simple. Su Xuan did not keep Nyo Daily, who was strong but simple-minded, in suspense and said with a smile. That sword isn't really a sword. You can think of it as the knife hanging over the head of the word, lust. Once a man becomes addicted to a girl's beauty, it can easily ruin his life. The reverse is also true. Oh. Nyo Daily suddenly realized, you are trying to persuade girls not to indulge in male beauty. It would be bad if it affects their studies, right? Su Xuan nodded. Then, the male beauty is you. Nyo Daily said suddenly. Su Xuan's face turned red. Immediately lower your head and eat. I've learned it. If a girl hits on me, I'll teach her the same thing. Nyo Daily burst into laughter. But then he felt sad again. I have learned it. But what about the girl? Woof woof woof. Woof woof woof. Brother Su, I want to ask you for a favor. Then, Nyo Daily pleaded in great distress, look, I'm almost 30 years old now. I have no looks and no career. I can't find a partner by myself. Can you introduce me to someone? Huh. Su Xuan glanced at Nyo Daily, if there's a suitable one, I'll definitely introduce you to one, but what kind are you looking for? Nyo Daily is his good brother, so he will help him if he can. Besides, Nyo Daily is a very honest and reliable person. I will definitely treat my future lover well with all my heart. As the saying goes. I was afraid it would melt in my mouth. I hold it in my hands for fear of dropping it. I'm not picky at all. Nyo Daily waved his hand and said, from 18 to 80 years old, as long as she's a woman, it's fine. I thought you were joking. Su Xuan smiled. I'm not kidding. Nyo Daily grinned miserably. I really can't find a partner. Even an 80-year-old woman will do. Real. Real. I don't really have anyone over 80 years old here. Su Xuan thought of someone, but there is a wealthy woman in her 40s who has maintained her body very well and looks like she is 30 years old. She seems to be in a hurry to find a partner. Would you like to meet her? The rich woman he was talking about was no other than. It was the one who had been offering a price and wanted to support him a few days ago. If Nyo Daily can touch her heart and fill the emptiness in her heart, she can definitely be a good partner in a down-to-earth manner. Rich woman. Still in good condition. Looks like he's in his 30s. Nyo Daily excitedly slammed the table and stood up. Such a good thing is hard to find even with a lantern. Don't miss it. It's her. Brother Su, I do. Please introduce me to it. Nyo Daily stretched out his hands and grabbed Su Xuan's arm tightly through the spicy chicken. His face was full of desire. It's written all over that I don't want to struggle anymore. Look here. Su Xuan said, I happen to have a package for her on my tricycle. You can deliver it for me. As for whether it can be done, it depends on you. This also helped him solve a problem. He was really afraid that the rich woman would do something weird again after seeing him. Walk. Nyo Daily immediately paid the bill, picked up the package, and ran to the rich woman's house. Boom. 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 Nyo Daily knocked on the door of the rich woman's house. When he saw the rich woman's appearance, he couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and then handed over the express with both hands. When delivering express, he inadvertently flexed his biceps. Lift your pectoralis major. Licking his thick lips. In the evening, Nyo Daily excitedly called Su Xuan. Brother Su. From today on, you are my brother. If you need my help in the future, just let me know. I will go down to the deep sea with you to catch a dragon, and I will go up to the mountain with you to fight a tiger. Su Xuan understood immediately. Concerned reminder. Please take care of yourself. Be careful with that sword. Su Xuan didn't expect that. He just simply helped Nyo Daily. Nyo Daily actually brought him unexpected benefits. When it gets dark, Su Xuan received a WeChat message that was both expected and unexpected. Handsome Su Xuan. Are you free tonight? I want to date you. Chapter 21, Protect the car with all your strength. Additional updates, please collect. Handsome Su Xuan, can I date you? The voice on the phone was clear and pleasant, making it impossible to refuse. The owner of this voice is Su Zimo, the beautiful female reporter who interviewed Su Xuan a few days ago. Are you watching a sample of the interview? Su Xuan remembered that Su Zimo once asked him to watch the interview sample. Now he has finished get off work and has just parked his tricycle at the express delivery station to charge it. Su Zimo, yes. Su Xuan, location. Su Zimo, Jenny Bar. Koenigsegg flew low in the night. 20 minutes later, Su Xuan arrived at the agreed location, Jenny Bar. At that moment, he was wearing the 10,000 yuan suit he had just bought today. As soon as he got out of the car, he caused a burst of exclamations. Wow, is this little brother a star? His sports car is so sci-fi. I wonder if he has a girlfriend. I really want him to take me away. I'll do anything for him. There were a few heavily made-up girls standing at the door of the bar. When they saw Su Xuan and his car, they couldn't help but get excited. Su Xuan ignored all of this and walked into the bar. His car is a Koenigsegg. In the bar's monitoring room, the bar owner Center Hainan was having a meeting with the security guards. Through the monitoring screen, he saw Su Xuan's sports car parked outside, and his face immediately changed. He is a senior member of the Supercar Association. He knows all kinds of sports cars very well and recognized Koenigsegg at a glance. And Koenigsegg is also his dream car. It can only be a dream. Because with his income, he would not be willing to spend hundreds of millions of yuan to buy such a car. Send out a few people right now to keep an eye on that Koenigsegg. Don't let anyone get close, especially a drunkard. If that car is damaged, you'll get out of here immediately. Bar owner Center Hainan immediately ended the meeting and gave orders to the security guards in a deep voice. Last month, there was an incident in the bar where a customer's luxury car was vandalized by a drunk. It made him very upset. This must never happen again. Especially this time it's a Koenigsegg. Clear. Then 4 security guards took orders in unison. They put on their gear and trotted outside. Stop taking pictures. Stay away. You shouldn't get close to this kind of car. The security guards drove away a group of girls who were taking pictures around Koenigsegg, and stood vigilantly beside Koenigsegg, protecting it wholeheartedly. Su Xuan, here, I'm here. In the bar, seeing Su Xuan coming over, the beautiful female reporter Su Zimo hurriedly stood up and waved at Su Xuan. Su Xuan saw Su Zimo and walked over. What would you like to drink? After Su Xuan sat down, Su Zimo put his hands on the table and looked at Su Xuan with his beautiful face. Have some juice. Su Xuan said, I just had a big drink and I'm a little out of shape. That's fine. Su Zimo called the waiter and ordered a glass of freshly squeezed juice for Su Xuan. Then he couldn't help but stare at Su Xuan and muttered to himself. You come to the bar but don't drink. It was Su Zimo who accompanied her. Aren't you afraid of missing out on a great opportunity? Replace it with another man. You wish you could get her drunk. How does that sentence go? Women don't get drunk. Men don't stand a chance. Where's the sample? Su Xuan put the juice to his mouth and took a sip. In fact, he had no interest in the sample film. He just didn't want the sample to reveal too much of his privacy and cause unnecessary trouble. Here. Su Zimo didn't bring his computer, so he took out his cell phone, placed it in front of Su Xuan, and clicked on an interview sample with his slender fingertips. Put this on and see. Considering that there were many people in the bar and it was quite noisy, Su Zimo thought about it and handed his white headphones to Su Xuan. If her colleagues here saw her actions, they would be shocked. Because she is misophobic. To her, headphones are like underwear and will never be lent to others, especially men. She agrees with one sentence. Women are made of water. Men are made of clay. She absolutely could not accept having her earphones covered in mud. But Su Xuan is an exception. She looked at Su Xuan's incredibly handsome face and felt his irresistible charm. She felt as clean and comfortable as if she was bathed in the spring breeze or standing in the street in the drizzle. Su Xuan can uses her headphones. It's a blessing for headphones. Good. After watching the sample film, Su Xuan gave a light evaluation. Just, are you okay? Su Zimo pursed her lips and pushed the short hair that hung down from her temples behind her ears. With her work efficiency, she can finish a general interview sample in 2 hours. But for the interview sample of Su Xuan, she worked all night long for a day or two, trying to make it perfect. But Su Xuan just said 2 words, okay. Is it because Su Zimo's skills are poor? Or is she just not attractive enough? Then can you give me some suggestions for revision? Su Zimo said in a bad mood, I want to revise it until you think it's perfect. Don't reveal which delivery point I am at. Don't mention my car. Don't include any footage about Yi Qianxian. She's still a little girl, it's not convenient to expose her. Don't glorify me too much. Saving people is just a matter of conscience. Don't want. Su Xuan drank fresh juice and put forward several suggestions for revisions. After hearing this, Su Zimo narrowed her beautiful watery eyes and pouted her lips. If we do as Su Xuan said. This movie only lasts a few minutes. How to play it? Are you okay? Su Xuan glanced at the noisy environment and pushed the juice cup beside him. I want to go home. I'm tired after delivering packages all day. He thought Su Zimo would ask him to have a quiet time. The result was a farce. He doesn't like noisy environments. Su Zimo widened her beautiful eyes. Are you really going to just watch a sample and leave? You don't want to. Look at me. Stay with me. Didn't you realize that I actually have other things to do tonight? Su Xuan, now that you're out, let's chat for a while. Su Zimo rubbed his bruised chest and confessed pitifully, actually, I asked you to come because I want to trouble you with something else. At this time, she lost all the efficiency and neatness that a female reporter should have. What's the matter? Su Xuan asked. My family introduced me to a blind date. We've had dinner together twice. He seems pretty good on the surface and is very polite in front of me, but I don't know what he's like in normal times. I heard that he's coming here to drink with his friends tonight. Can you? Su Zimo leaned towards Su Xuan and asked shyly, can you accompany me to secretly observe him for a while? Although she said this, her real purpose was to find the man's ugly side, and then use it as an excuse to reasonably reject the man. Because if I refuse directly, my family may not accept it. She didn't believe that the man just came to the bar to drink with his buddies. There were many places to drink, so why did he choose Jenny's bar, a place that couples love to come to? She doesn't like that man at all. But she is a girl after all, and she is a little timid to do such a thing alone. So I thought of Su Xuan. Su Xuan has climbed high buildings to save people, which gives people a sense of security. No. Su Xuan stood up. He doesn't want to do such boring things. Su Zimo suddenly reached out and grabbed his hand, saying, "Hurry up and sit down, someone is coming." Chapter 22. I can bankrupt your family with just one phone call. Hurry up and sit down, someone is coming. Su Zimo took Su Xuan's hand and sat down. When she pulled Su Xuan's hand, her heart was beating wildly and her face turned red. It's not that I'm afraid of being seen by the blind date who just came in. Instead, he felt moved by Su Xuan. She had been moved by Su Xuan more than once. When she interviewed Su Xuan last time, her heartbeat accelerated uncontrollably whenever Su Xuan spoke, as if she had become a young girl who had just fallen in love. Immediately, Su Zimo lowered her head, afraid of being seen by the newcomers, and also afraid that Su Xuan would see her blushing. "Waiter, ask security to keep an eye on the Maserati I just picked up. If someone scratches me, I'll hold you accountable." A man in his 20s, with a slicked back hair, walked to the bar, sat down, and called a waiter with a proud look on his face. "Got it, sir." The waiter answered, but it seemed perfunctory. "There's a Koenigsegg parked outside." The owner of the car did not make any request. "What are you, a Maserati, worried about? Have a martini, the king of cocktails, without the mess." The man ordered another drink from the bartender standing behind the bar, then raised his wrist to look at his Rolex, as if he was waiting for someone. "Your wine, sir." The bartender placed a martini in front of the man. There was a slice of bright lemon stuck on the rim of the cup. The man pulled off the lemon slice and took a sip of the wine. "Pooh." But he spat the wine onto the ground again. "Is your wine adulterated?" The man pushed his glass toward the bartender with a questioning look on his face. "All our wines are purchased from the original factory. There won't be any fakes." The bartender pointed to a certificate hanging behind him and said, "Sir, this is your first time here, right? I wonder if we are also authorized distributors of the manufacturer." "Oh." The man opened his mouth, "Then bring me 2 more bottles of green tea, iced." "Your martinis are too bad." The bartender brought 2 bottles of black tea to the man. The man opened one of the bottles of green tea, poured some into the glass, took a sip, and, it tasted much better. "Isn't she a cute person?" Su Xuan withdrew his gaze from the man and said to Su Zimo, "You call this cute?" Su Zimo was confused. "This is simply disrespectful and shameful. His name is Gong Feiyan. His family runs a hotel supplies company called Leah. They made a lot of money this year because they opened up sales channels. It's not an exaggeration to say that he is a nouveau riche." Su Zimo then told Su Xuan about the man's situation. Lil. There was a barely perceptible hint of something strange in Su Xuan's eyes. "But my family just values his family's financial situation." Su Zimo continued, and also said that his appearance is also. Having said that, Su Zimo paused and secretly glanced at Su Xuan. Compared with Su Xuan, Gong Feiyan, who was drinking green tea, looked like a pile of dirty mud. "Is the appearance acceptable? It's hard to get through, right?" Su Zimo pouted, "It's more like a bulldozer ran over it." "Oh." Su Xuan was amused by Su Zimo and said, "Don't be too picky. Men are completely different when they are alone than when they are in front of women. In front of women, men can be very gentlemanly and graceful. But when I'm alone, I feel very casual. Are you the same?" Su Zimo blinked her beautiful eyes. "Me?" Su Xuan put his hands behind his head and leaned back in his chair. "I'm a lazy person. I don't want to pretend." Puff. Su Zimo gave Su Xuan a beautiful smile that Gong Feiyan had never seen before. Then, she suddenly saw a scene that made her very angry. "Here I come, honey." A woman wearing a short skirt and black fishnet stockings walked into the bar. When she saw the man named Gong Feiyan who had a blind date with Su Zimo, she stretched out her arms and fluttered over like a big stupid bird. "Hey, baby, why did you come just now? I've been waiting for you for more than an hour." Gong Feiyan, who had just arrived, also opened his arms, hugged the woman, and turned around in a disgusting manner. The bartender couldn't help but twitch his lips when he saw it. Earth. So tacky. What would you like to drink, darling? Gong Feiyang put his arms around the woman's waist and asked her softly. Drinking is bad for your skin. The woman pointed to her dark circles under her eyes. I'll just drink your green tea. Okay. Gong Feiyang pushed a bottle of green tea in front of the woman. Honey, I can't open it. The woman's voice is coquettish. Don't be afraid, I'll take care of everything. Gong Feiyang unscrewed the green tea bottle, handed the bottle to the woman, and fed her a sip. But the woman did not drink the green tea. Instead, she held it in her mouth, pouting her lips, and kissed Gong Feiyang. You said with your mouth pouting. I'm pouting my mouth. Su Xuan, let's go. Su Zimo, who was sitting in the bar booth, couldn't bear to watch it any longer. Her goal for the night had been achieved, so she stood up and pulled Su Xuan out of the bar. As soon as she gets home, she tells her parents what she saw. Tell them that Gong Feiyang is actually a complete scumbag. Even in the case of lovers. And went on a blind date with Su Zimo. This is simply an insult to her. Zimo. Gong Feiyang, with the green tea that the woman spit out to him in his mouth, suddenly discovered Su Zimo who was pulling Su Xuan away. His expression was a little shocked and flustered at first. But it soon turned into anger. Zimo, stop right there. Gong Feiyang left the woman beside him, ran to Su Zimo, reached out to pull Su Zimo's arm, but Su Zimo dodged. Tell me who this guy is. Why are you drinking with him in a bar? You and I have been on a blind date. Gong Feiyang had no choice but to stand in front of Su Xuan and Su Zimo and question them in a stern voice. It seems that he has forgotten what he just did. Su Xuan, I'm sorry for causing you trouble. Su Zimo ignored Gong Feiyang, but apologized to Su Xuan. Fine. Su Xuan's tone was calm and he didn't take the current matter to heart. I just muttered to myself inexplicably, this is weird. Is this all arranged by God? Honey, what happened? At this time, the woman just now saw that something was wrong and walked over immediately. I saw my buddy's woman having a tryst with another man here. It's so infuriating. Gong Feiyang whispered to the woman. He thought the bar was very noisy and no one would hear it, but he underestimated Su Xuan's hearing. After Su Xuan's physique was strengthened for times, his sensory abilities improved accordingly, and he could hear Gong Feiyang's words clearly. It's time to end this farce. Su Xuan, who wanted to leave here as soon as possible, slowly turned his body, which was originally facing the bar door, towards Gong Feiyang and the woman. Hiss! As soon as the woman saw Su Xuan's face, she gasped as if she had seen a devil, her face turned pale with fear. Then she lowered her head, left Gong Feiyang behind and ran away in a panic. Huh! Why did you leave without saying a word? Gong Feiyang was confused and didn't know what was going on. But this is also good. He was originally thinking of finding a reason to get the woman away. But something even more confusing happened again. Su Xuan said to him calmly. LR Hotel Supplies Company is owned by your family, right? Apologize to Su Zimo now and swear not to bother her again. Otherwise, I can bankrupt your family with just one phone call. Gong Feiyang was stunned. Then he burst into laughter. Brother, you are awesome. Chapter 23, Force me to show my hands. Brother, you are awesome. Gong Feiyang's tone was full of teasing. There was a look of deep disdain on his face. Of course he didn't believe what Su Xuan said. Su Xuan is so young and handsome, it is impossible for him to have such terrifying power. One phone call can make his family bankrupt. Su Xuan, I know you want to vent your anger for me. Su Zimo didn't believe that Su Xuan was really that powerful, and was afraid that things would get worse, so he said. Actually, I'm fine. I don't worry about Gong Feiyang at all. I just think he's a scumbag. He went on a blind date with me when he had a lover, and he even lied to me that he was always busy with company matters and had no time to interact with women. Su Xuan, let's go. Su Zimo took Su Xuan's hand and was about to leave the bar. You actually pulled his hand. Gong Feiyang's face became even uglier, and he was filled with jealousy. He stretched out his strong arms, blocked the two people's way, and said arrogantly, if we don't make things clear today, no one can leave. Gong Feiyang, don't go too far. Su Zimo couldn't help but said angrily, I have seen what happened between you and that woman. I already know what kind of person you are. There is no relationship between us at all. You said it's okay, so it's okay. Gong Feiyang pointed at Su Xuan and asked, "Who is this kid to you?" "My new boyfriend, do you have any objections?" Su Zimo was really angry and hugged Su Xuan's arm. "Just made it." "Okay, okay." Gong Feiyang said 3 good words in a row, raised his hand suddenly, and waved it vigorously. "Brothers, come out." Before he finished speaking, 3 men came out from a booth in the bar and stood next to Gong Feiyang. With someone to support him, Gong Feiyang proudly touched the Hermes belt around his waist, looking extremely domineering. These 3 were his friends. A very special friend. He and they all came from a very special group called the Playboy Pickup Girls Group. They often exchange their experiences in picking up girls in the group, and even share their own short videos of picking up girls, including naughty videos of checking into a hotel. In this way, you can show off your abilities, gain praise from others, and find a huge sense of existence. Tonight, he notified these 3 people in advance and asked them to come to the bar early to secretly record the romantic scenes between him and the woman. Unexpectedly, Su Zimo was also there and ruined his good thing. "Zimo, I can explain to you the relationship between me and that woman." Gong Feiyang, who was in control of the situation, raised his face and coaxed Su Zimo, "That woman is an actress I found. We are shooting a short video for the internet. Yes, I am not just a rich second generation whose family owns a company, but also a part-time anchor. The purpose of shooting the short video is to tell today's young people, the younger generation, that money can't buy true love. Love must be earned with sincerity. Just like my love for you, it is sincere and genuine." After saying this, Gong Feiyang almost applauded himself. "I am so smart. What a high IQ. But what about you?" Gong Feiyang immediately pressed the issue and questioned Su Zimo, "Why did you just get a boyfriend? Do you need to explain this to me?" "I have nothing to say." Su Zimo naturally didn't believe Gong Feiyang's lies, and even felt that he was a little disgusting. He still held Su Xian's arm tightly. "Please let us go. You want to leave without explaining yourself clearly?" "I definitely can't leave. Unless I break one of this kid's legs and make him spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair." Gong Feiyang waved his hand at the 3 men and shouted, "Go." The 3 men smiled, rolled up their sleeves, and surrounded Su Xuan. The atmosphere suddenly became dangerous. "If you break anything tonight, I'll pay for it at the original price. None of you should mind my business." Gong Feiyang took out a thick stack of cash from his pocket, held it up and shook it at everyone in the bar, acting like a typical nouveau riche. "Don't want. Stop it." Seeing that the 3 men were really going to attack Su Xuan, Su Zimo immediately spread out his arms and stood in front of Su Xuan. But something she could never have imagined happened. Su Xuan was like a ghost. Suddenly appeared in front of her. At the moment when the opponent's fists and feet attack, the one who strikes later but arrives first attacks. Bang! 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 3 dull voices sounded almost at the same time. The 3 men felt their eyes blurry and then flew backwards. Plop! 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 He fell hard on the floor of the bar. He stretched his legs. All fainted. Wow! Su Zimo looked at Su Xuan again and couldn't help but open his mouth wide. Su Xuan seemed to have done nothing, he just stood there calmly with his hands in his pockets. This is really. The person on the street is as beautiful as jade. Young master is unparalleled in the world. Plop, plop. Su Zimo's heart started beating wildly. Damn it. That heart-pounding feeling is back. It's stronger than ever before. I really want to lean on him, put my face on his shoulder, and watch the flowers bloom and fade, and the clouds roll and unroll with him. What's going on? Can anyone tell me what this is about? Gong Feiyang, who had been so arrogant just now, was now standing there alone, stunned. Doesn't he seem real? 3 gentlemen. Just in a moment. He was knocked down by a monster who was more handsome than a woman. Naturally, no one told him anything. Because everyone was shocked too. Crash. Crash. A moment later, thunderous applause suddenly broke out in the bar. The guests present thought it was an impromptu performance in the bar. It is so true. So wonderful. The only downside is that it ended too quickly. No wonder they think it's a show. Su Xuan really looks more like a celebrity than a celebrity, and he looks like someone the bar has paid a huge sum of money to invite to perform. We don't have to move. Bar owner Center Hanan raised his hand towards the security guards beside him. When he saw someone trying to cause trouble in his bar, he immediately ran over with the security guards to control the situation. However, he didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, Su Xuan had everything under control. Except for the 3 people who fell to the ground, no one was hurt. This couldn't be better. Even the mood of the guests in the bar also became extremely high. I'll order another bottle of Black Label here. I'll order a bottle of Jack Daniels here. Here's a fruit plate and 3 bottles of beer. Because of Su Xuan's actions, the guests began to make additional purchases. This made Center Hanan smile. He was sure that the bar's sales tonight would hit a new high in recent times. Go and carry those 3 guys away. Send him to the clinic designated by our bar for treatment. Don't worry about anything else. Center Hanan gave the security guard a new order, while he hid beside the bar, secretly observing Su Xuan. He was interested in Su Xuan's car. I became interested in Su Xuan. Why? Su Xuan looked at Gong Feiyang, who was standing there stupidly inside. I gave you a chance just now, but you didn't cherish it and forced me to show my hand. Fine, I'll satisfy you now. The next second, Su Xuan picked up the phone. Dial a number. Mr. Liu, terminate all cooperation with Lear Hotel Supplies Company and withdraw all investments. Well, let's take back the name Lear. After all, we gave it to them. Yes, I want to make the other party disappear completely. Chapter 24. Can I call you Grandpa? Yes. When Su Xuan heard Su Zimo talking about Lear Hotel Supplies Company, we already knew that the other party was the supplier of the Liker Hotel. I also know that Liker has invested a huge amount of money in the other party. I also know that the other party's name was given by Liker. These 2 days, Liu Ming always reported his work to him whenever he had time, and told him a lot about Liker so that he could understand everything about Liker as quickly as possible. So, he made a phone call. Lear Hotel Supplies Company is completely finished. As for the woman who ran away when she saw him, what a coincidence, it was the woman who was repairing her membrane in the hospital, climbed into his car, and was beaten up by his wealthy boyfriend. Her dark circles are not caused by drinking or staying up late. But he was beaten out. The woman must be afraid that he would tell everything. So when I saw him I ran away. Did it really bankrupt my family? You're not kidding, are you? Gong Feiyang looked at Su Xuan and began to panic. Because at this time, Su Xuan, the momentum revealed inadvertently. That doesn't seem like the aura a young man should have at all. It is a terrifying aura of someone in a high position. An aura that makes people bow down in worship at first sight. Without certain power, it's impossible to have this kind of momentum. He saw Su Xuan now. It's like seeing my own father. No. Su Xuan is even more inspiring than his own father. I'll make a call too. Gong Feiyang made a phone call. It was for my own father. Result, busy. Fight again. Still busy. The 3rd time I finally got through. Dad, there's someone who's having a problem with me. He boasted that one phone call could bankrupt our family. Your side. Gong Feiyang hadn't finished speaking yet. His father started roaring on the phone. Brute. What a bummer. I was wondering why Mr. Liu from Liker just called me and said he wanted to terminate the cooperation, withdraw the investment, and remove our license. It turns out that you offended someone you shouldn't have offended. I should have sprayed you against the wall. Our family is ruined. Let's go beg together from now on. The phone was hung up amidst the aftermath of anger. Plop. Gong Feiyang collapsed on the ground in despair. His family is really ruined. He calmed down. Lift your head. Looking up at Su Xuan. I know who you are. Gong Feiyang suddenly propped himself up with his hands and knelt on the ground. He walked to Su Xuan, hugged Su Xuan's legs, and cried loudly. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please take back your decision. Grandpa, can I call you Grandpa? From now on I will be your grandson. No, I will be your dog. I will do whatever you tell me to do. I will bite whoever you tell me to bite. Woof woof woof, woof woof woof. Su Xuan only said 2 words. It's too late. He believed in a principle. Anyone who helps me, I will never forget this and repay you with gratitude. Anyone who deceives me, I will repay you in kind, tenfold. The two words Su Xuan said. Like an invisible punch. It hit Gong Feiyan hard on the head. Gong Feiyan rolled his eyes and fainted on the ground. The security guards rushed over and carried Gong Feiyan away. Su Xuan, are you likers, boss? Su Zimo, who was in shock, blinked and suddenly realized something. One phone call can destroy everything Gong Feiyan relies on for survival. So, there is only one possibility. Su Xuan is Liker's boss and a person in charge. Because she had heard Gong Feiyan brag that his family had the support of Liker. Su Xuan did not answer directly. There is no need to answer. Isn't everything obvious? Crash. Crash. Thunderous applause broke out in the bar again. This drama is so exciting. That guy was crying until his nose was snotty. His acting was amazing. But the most amazing one is the most handsome boy. His domineering aura is so realistic. How did he perform it? If you're not in that position, it would be hard to act so well, right? The guests were thrilled. They still think this is all staged. There's a $1 billion supercar outside, it belongs to this little brother. This might not be acting, but it's really happening. The villain is doomed because of a phone call. Some people also speculated that. I was even more shocked by this. Is this the world of the rich? No weapons or swords. Can a phone call kill you? Just like what the poem says. Their masts and oars were reduced to ashes while talking and laughing? Scared. Scared. You must be careful in your dealings with others in the future. If you offend someone like this little brother, your life will be over. There were also some little girls who ignored the boys sitting next to them and cast affectionate glances at Su Xuan. Su Xuan's appearance completely meets all their fantasies and aspirations for their other half. Even Su Xuan's skills are so good. He must be extremely strong in that aspect, right? Love it. Love it. But when he saw Su Zimo standing next to Su Xuan, they felt somewhat ashamed of themselves and had to put aside their improper thoughts. Let's go. Su Xuan was no longer interested in staying here and glanced at Su Zimo. Su Zimo, who is usually capable, nodded obediently like a beautiful sheep, and couldn't help but put his arm around Su Xuan's arm and followed Su Xuan out of the bar. Dear guest, please stay. The bar owner, Center Hanan, suddenly caught up with him and introduced himself. I'm the owner of this place, Center Hanan. Oops. Su Zimo smiled sweetly with embarrassment. He forgot to pay the bill. She thought Center Hanan had come after her to ask her to pay the bill, but what happened just now was so shocking that she had forgotten about it. No need to pay, no need to pay. All your purchases tonight are free. Center Hanan also became embarrassed and quickly waved his hands to explain. He really didn't catch up just for the small matter of paying the bill. To be honest, he still has to give Su Xuan money. Because of Su Xuan's performance, his bar made a lot of money tonight. My dear guest, I have a favor to ask of you. Center Hanan got straight to the point. I am a senior member of a supercar association. I love supercars very much, but I have never touched a real Koenigsegg. Can you let me feel your car? Of course, if you don't want to, you can just leave. Without waiting for Su Xuan to express his opinion, Center Hanan hurriedly said, We'll get a free meal too. You can get a free meal next time you come. Because he knows that some people are very averse to others touching their cars. What's more, it's a Koenigsegg worth hundreds of millions of yuan. Having said that, Center Hanan immediately handed Su Xuan a black card of extraordinary texture with both hands. This card is the most advanced black card in my bar. Please accept it. Any purchase within 5,000 yuan will be free of charge. Any purchase over 5,000 yuan will be charged at cost price. In fact, it is completely free. Generally speaking, $2,000 to $3,000 is enough to have a good time and drink at Jenny Bar. Facing Center Hanan's sincerity. And what he had done in his shop. Su Xuan, who didn't think much of his car, said, You can feel it. It's just a car. Center Hanan immediately smiled, stretched out his hands and held Su Xuan's hands tightly. Thank you. Su Xuan looked down at Center Hanan's arm. A ferocious coiled arm dragon tattooed on his face. Chapter 25, This battle is a no-win. Oh. These are all the absurd things I did when I was young. Center Hanan patted the green dragon tattooed on his arm and smiled. When he was young, he used to hang out on the streets and was a big brother. Later, as he grew older, he retired from the underworld and started doing serious work. It's a nice tattoo. Su Xuan also smiled. Then he and Center Hanan walked out of the bar and came to their car, where they saw several security guards protecting Koenigsegg. Go away. Center Hanan sent the security guards away. Here are the car keys. Su Xuan handed the car keys to Center Hanan. As the saying goes, laymen watch the excitement. Experts know the tricks. Center Hanan is obviously an expert. He did not rush to get into the car and look around, but opened the hood and looked at the engine. TSK, I finally saw some real good stuff. The engine of this car is a 5.0-liter V8 twin-turbocharged engine. It can produce a maximum of 1,400 horsepower and 1,600 newton-meters of torque. It's amazing that the transmission weighs only 80 kilograms. After looking at the engine, Center Hanan walked around the car again, looking at its exterior and interior, but he did not get in to sit in the car or drive it around, exercising extreme discretion. Thank you very much. Center Hanan returned the car keys to Su Xuan. A long-cherished wish has finally been fulfilled. You're welcome. Su Xuan took the car keys, said goodbye to Center Hanan, and left with Su Zimo. Before saying goodbye, at Center Hanan's request, the two exchanged phone numbers. Heisey, take a few people with you to escort Mr. Su home and ensure his safety. Center Hanan waved to a security guard behind him. He was worried that Su Xuan had just offended someone and might get into trouble. Clear. The security guard named Heisey called two people, got into a black Audi, and chased Su Xuan from a distance. Su Xuan, thank you. Sitting in the Koenigsegg, Su Zimo did not look at the beautiful night view outside the car window, but just looked at Su Xuan's profile, his eyes full of gratitude. If you really want to thank me, please add a beauty filter to the interview sample for me. Su Xuan said seriously, working as a courier is very windy and sunny, so my skin is not very good. Puff. Su Zimo couldn't help but burst out laughing, and then said seriously, your skin is better than mine, I'm jealous of you. Su Xuan, where is your home? Su Zimo, I don't want to go home. Su Xuan. Su Zimo, we both have the last name Su. Su Xuan. Su Zimo, you saved me tonight, so now I am the same as Yi Qianxian. Su Xuan. Su Zimo, I want to experience staying at the Ricardo Hotel. Can you give it to me for free? Su Xuan casually threw a card to Su Zimo. Su Zimo took it and looked at it, her beautiful eyes narrowed. What Su Xuan gave her was not an ordinary card, but Lycal's top-level Supreme card, which required a consumption of 50 million to own. She is a reporter and has known about the existence of this card for a long time. I know the value of this card. This card is more useful in high society than a personal profile. If you take out a card like this, others will immediately know that you are wealthy and will look up to you. But there are very few owners. This makes the card even more precious. Su Xuan actually just threw a card like this to her. Su Zimo couldn't help but rub his chest. He might be. You like mine, right? Su Xuan, if I go to Leica to spend money with this card, do you have to accompany me in person? Su Zimo suddenly smiled maliciously. No. Su Xuan smiled, I will change this rule when I go back. You? Su Zimo, a beautiful reporter who had never acted like a spoiled child in front of others, couldn't help but say two words to Su Xuan with a coquettish look on her face, hateful. Then. Su Zimo did not actually go to live in Leica, but returned to his own home. When getting off the bus, with lightning speed, like a dragonfly touching the water, she quickly touched Su Xuan's cheek with her soft lips, then fled back to her home. This night, Su Zimo held the card Su Xuan gave her in her small hand. I had a good sleep. She also had a dream. She dreamed that Su Xuan was carrying a long sword, climbing over two mountains, walking across a plain, and coming to a place with clear stream, and had a sword fight with her. This battle. There is no winner. Oh. Take advantage of me. In the car, Su Xuan casually wiped off the lip print left by Su Zimo on his face. But if it were another man? I'm afraid I'll treasure it and keep it on my face for the rest of my life. Afterwards, Su Xuan did not go to live with Leica, but returned to his own residence. He was not used to the people in Leica being respectful to him, which made him uncomfortable. His home is in an old neighborhood. Not gorgeous, but full of life. My own home is still comfortable. After returning home and lying on the familiar bed, Su Xuan stretched and closed his eyes. At the same time, downstairs in Su Xuan's apartment, a very interesting thing happened. Ting Ting, this is that boy's home, right? That's right. Isn't he living too low-key? It is precisely because we kept a low profile that we were deceived by him. That's right. Two figures sneaked up to the downstairs of Su Xuan's apartment. One of them was Zhang Tingting, the blind date girl who had confronted Su Xuan at Leica's door. The other person is Leica's former sales manager, Chen Jixing, who has been fired. These two are still together. Honey, are you really planning to kidnap him? Zhang Tingting asked Chen Jixing. Nonsense, he played dumb and made me lose Leica's job. I was also beaten up. I haven't even paid off my car loan and mortgage yet. I just can't swallow this. Chen Jixing said bitterly, I must get back what I lost from him. I'm a little scared, said Zhang Tingting. What's there to be afraid of? Chen Jixing said, I know the mentality of people like him too well. When something happens, he will think of spending money to avoid disaster, and he doesn't even dare to call the police. We are just trying to scare him and take his money, not to kill him or set fire to him, so there is no need to be afraid. Oh well. Zhang Tingting put on a mask and followed Chen Jixing upstairs. But before I took a few steps, something happened that they never expected. Two shining knives suddenly stretched out from behind them and were placed on their necks. Then he took them hostage, got into a black Audi, and left Su Xuan's community. Boss, you are really smart. Sure enough, someone is looking for trouble with Mr. Su, and we have caught him. In the Audi, Haizi, the security guard of Jenny Bar, called the boss Center Hanan. Center Hanan, is Mr. Su okay? Haizi, Mr. Su is fine, he has gone home to sleep. What do you do with the people you caught? Center Hanan, the world is so big, let them go somewhere else to live their lives and never come back. Understood. Haizi drove the car onto the highway and then asked Center Hanan, Boss, do we need to let Mr. Su know about this? Does he owe you a favor? No need. Center Hanan said, I also owe Mr. Su a favor. Besides, the friendship between gentlemen is as pure as water. The next day, it's sunny. Su Xuan arrived at the express delivery point full of energy. Just as he was about to ride his tricycle to deliver the package, he received an unexpected call. A sweet voice said on the phone, Su Xuan, guess who I am? Chapter 26. Your car is so interesting. Su Xuan, guess who I am? The voice on the phone sounded as sweet as if it came out of a honey pot. How do I know who you are? If you don't tell me, I'll hang up. Su Xuan started the tricycle, as he had a full truckload of express deliveries to deliver today. Last time, the system rewarded him with shares in Kangnai Private Hospital, which made him very motivated. Moreover, the system can be upgraded. All kinds of benefits are waiting for him in the future. Hey, Su Xuan, you're still so cool. The voice on the phone sighed, I'm your high school classmate Yang Shinshin. Have you forgotten me? Oh, what's the matter? Su Xuan asked calmly. Yang Shinshin was indeed his high school classmate, and they sat in front and behind each other, but they lost contact after graduation. Can't I just look for you if I'm fine? Yang Shinshin became a little unhappy. When she was in high school, she liked Su Xuan very much and even wrote him a love letter, but Su Xuan ignored her. At that time, her appearance ranked among the top 3 in the class. Unexpectedly, after so many years, Su Xuan is still so unkind to her. Why couldn't he be more enthusiastic towards her like other men? Even if I don't lick her. Can't you be a little more polite? Then tell me what's the matter. I still have to deliver a package. Su Xuan said. You're not kidding, are you? Are you a courier? When Yang Shinshin heard that Su Xuan was delivering a package, her voice became strange. Su Xuan was a very good student at that time. How did you become a courier? This is really. Life is so unpredictable. Yes, it's the courier. Su Xuan pursed his lips. Couriers are also very nice. I like couriers very much. They have made great contributions to society and are very lovely people. Yang Shinshin suddenly became enthusiastic. But it sounds a bit fake. Su Xuan, I'm contacting you because I really have something to bother you with. Yang Shinshin then said, I received a notice from the monitor Liu Yiming saying that our teacher Wang is ill. You should have received the notice as well, right? I really want to visit Teacher Wan with everyone. I'm at the Imperial Capital Airport right now, but I can't get a taxi. Can you drive over to pick me up? I'm busy. Su Xuan refused without thinking. He didn't believe that there was no taxi available at the airport. If you can't get a taxi, you can always get an online ride-hailing car, right? He also remembered that Yang Xinshan was the kind of person who loved to take advantage of others. She thought she was pretty and always wanted whatever the boys in the class wanted. She also always showed off to other girls. Hey, Su Xuan, don't deliver the express today. It was at this time that Lu Dachuan, the person in charge of the express delivery point, came over. Crash. Lu Dachuan pulled away Su Xuan's tricycle key and said with a smile, "You are given a day off today. You don't have to deliver the express. Just take a day off." What's going on? Su Xuan was stunned. You don't know yet. Lu Dachuan lowered his voice mysteriously. The news this morning reported your rescue. The leaders at headquarters also saw it and were very happy. They granted you a day off. You can't refuse. This is an order from above. After that, Lu Dachuan took Su Xuan's tricycle and left with a smile. He was really happy. Because he was also praised for this. It's a win-win situation for all. Su Xuan, did your boss give you a holiday? Yang Xinshan heard the first half of Lu Dachuan's words on the phone and said happily, "You can't say you're busy now, come pick me up." But she didn't hear the second half of what Lu Dachuan said in a deliberately low voice. Oh, okay. After all, they were classmates, so Su Xuan had to agree reluctantly. Yang Xinshan, by the way, do you have a car? Su Xuan, yes. An hour later. Su Xuan, are you here yet? Yang Xinshan was getting a little impatient waiting in the airport lobby and couldn't help but call Su Xuan to ask. The reason why she was so persistent in asking Su Xuan to pick her up was, in fact, he wanted to show off in front of Su Xuan and give Su Xuan a blow. Because she married a rich man. The wedding house is a 300 square meter house. The car he drives is a 2 million Porsche Panamera. Everything she wears is brand name. The bag on my arm now is worth 30,000 yuan. He really wanted Su Xuan to see what she looked like. Look how well she's doing. You rejected my pursuit at the beginning, right? Now I am. You can't afford it. Even if you chase me now. I don't agree to any of them. Yes. She has always been brooding over the love letter incident. She also wants to show off in front of her classmates. Visiting Teacher Wan was just a cover. How many years have you graduated? The feelings have faded long ago. I'm already here. Parking lot number 2. At this time, Su Xuan had also arrived at the airport and reported his location. Wait a moment. Yang Xinshan got up and walked towards parking lot number 2. She picked up her cell phone and opened a group chat with her best friends. The video call was connected. 3 or 4 women's heads appeared on the screen. Xinshan, have you arrived yet? Have you managed to date that school hunk named Su Xuan? Quickly switch the camera, we want to see what he looks like. Her best friends started talking at once. They knew that the purpose of Yang Xinshan's trip was to show off her revengeful mentality. They really want to see Yang Xinshan show off and slap Su Xuan in the face. This is also in line with women's gossipy nature. All of you be quiet and listen to me. Su Xuan's career is a failure. He is actually a courier. Har har har. I'm on my way to the parking lot to find him now. Can you guys guess what car he has? Yang Xinshan walked while talking maliciously into her phone. The courier's salary is not bad. It should be no problem to get a loan to buy a car worth 100,000 yuan. Bora, Cruise, Seger, Mazda. Girlfriends speculated what Su Xuan's car was. But no one guessed that the car model would cost more than 200,000 yuan. I'm almost at the parking lot. The answer will be revealed soon. Yang Xinshan quickened her pace and switched the camera to the rear camera. A few minutes later, Yang Xinshan came to parking lot number 2. Saw Su Xuan. To be precise, Su Xuan was seen standing next to a dilapidated Wuling Hongguang. Su Xuan is still wearing his courier uniform. Su Xuan. Is that you? Yang Xinshan was 10 meters away, pretending to be uncertain and waved to Su Xuan. But she recognized Su Xuan at a glance. Su Xuan is even more handsome than when he was in school. He is so handsome that she wants to pursue Su Xuan again. He was so handsome that she couldn't help but want to pounce on him and bite Su Xuan. But she did not forget the purpose of this trip. Force yourself to ignore Su Xuan's handsomeness. Only see the bad side of Su Xuan. Then, she was immediately happy. She's going to be so happy. Su Xuan really didn't lie to her, he was really a courier. The car is still a. Har ha har har. It's so embarrassing. Su Xuan looked up at Yang Xinshin and waved politely. See. 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 While walking towards Su Xuan, Yang Xinshin whispered, "Did you see that?" 3 times into the phone. She wanted her girlfriends to see how miserable Su Xuan was. This will make her happier. I see. As expected of a man Xinshin once loved, he's so handsome. Yes, he's very handsome. If my husband looked like him, I would wash his feet every day. The girlfriends were also immediately attracted by Su Xuan's unparalleled appearance. Ignoring Su Xuan's attire. And that old Wuling Hongguan. Why do you keep looking at his face? Look at his other things. Yang Xinshin reminded in a low voice. Har har, he's really a courier boy. Ho ho, his car turned out to be the Wuling Hongguan, the legendary car of Akina Mountain. His hardware configuration really ruins his looks. The girlfriends had no choice but to cooperate with Yang Xinshin and said some things against their will. They really don't want to say it. Su Xuan is so handsome. It hurts my conscience to say this. Su Xuan, long time no see. Yang Xinshin walked up to Su Xuan and greeted him lightly without even shaking hands with Su Xuan. Your car is so interesting. Yang Xinshin glanced at the Wuling Hongguan behind Su Xuan and said jokingly, I've never ridden in a car like this before. The gasoline smell must be very strong inside. I'll get car sick. Talking. She rubbed her forehead in distress. Su Xuan was too lazy to look at the pretentious Yang Xinshin. He raised his right hand lazily and pressed the car key. Beep beep. Koenigsegg is parked in a parking space in the distance. Suddenly a beautiful and domineering voice was uttered. At the same time, he opened his sharp eyes. The parking space also becomes prosperous and extraordinary because of its existence. This is my car. Su Xuan walked towards Koenigsegg calmly. This. Yang Xinshin stood there holding the phone, unable to recover for a long time. Her girlfriends were also stunned. What a misunderstanding. A big plot twist. A courier boy actually owns a supercar they have never seen before? No. Take a screenshot and check what kind of car this is. Hiss. Koenigsegg, the world's top supercar. Worth 100 million. There are only 5 or 6 cars like this in the whole of China. I can't even borrow it if I want to. Xinshin, you are stupid. Hurry up and catch up. If you don't chase him, we'll fly after him. The best friends hurriedly urged Yang Xinshin. Oh. Yang Xinshin finally came to her senses and hurriedly ran after Su Xuan. Su Xuan, wait for me. Oh. Chapter 27. Why was I so stupid? Xinshin, his car is worth hundreds of millions of yuan. You must hold on and don't lose your composure. Remember the purpose of your trip, remember that you are a married woman. Yang Xinshin's best friends reminded her on their cell phones. Afraid that Yang Xinshin would lose herself and hook up with Su Xuan to do something shameful. The reason they reminded her like this was. In fact, I have some selfish motives. They don't want Yang Xinshin to take down Su Xuan. They don't want Yang Xinshin to get what they can't get. Since everyone can be best friends, their financial resources, material resources, and men are similar, maintaining a balance. If Yang Xinshin and Su Xuan were together, Yang Xinshin will be superior to them. This balance was broken. I know. Yang Xinshin answered perfunctorily, then hurriedly caught up with Su Xuan, quit the group chat, and put away her phone. Su Xuan, this car is really nice. It must be worth millions, right? Standing next to the Koenigsegg, Yang Xinshin pretended not to know the price of the car and asked Su Xuan. This is where she is smart. Pretending not to know the price of the car. She could deceive herself and get along with Su Xuan equally. If her attitude towards Su Xuan changed in the future, Su Xuan would not think that she was attracted by the car. His own little dignity was thus able to explode Liu Zhifen. Pooh. It's to keep some points. As for her plan to show off in front of Su Xuan and attack Su Xuan, it had already collapsed in front of Koenigsegg. There is really nothing I can do. That's about right. Su Xuan also answered perfunctorily, then opened the car door and got in. Fraud. Yang Xinshin muttered something to herself and got into the car. Handsome Su Xuan, it's been years since we last met. Nice to meet you. Yang Xinshin's attitude towards Su Xuan really changed, and she enthusiastically extended her white hand to Su Xuan. But she just disdained to shake hands with Su Xuan. Su Xuan frowned, stretched out his hand and shook hands with Yang Xinshin. But what he didn't expect was that Yang Xinshin actually held his hand tightly and refused to let go. Oh my, handsome Su Xuan, your hands are so delicate. I, a girl, am jealous of you. You are definitely not a courier. Tell me the truth, which online store did you buy your courier uniform from? Yang Xinshin pouted, looking annoyed. I'm really a courier. Su Xuan withdrew his hand. I don't believe it, huh? Yang Xinshin actually stretched out another hand, grabbed Su Xuan's hand tightly with both hands, and placed it on her chest. Su Xuan, Yang Xinshin, we are just classmates, please be serious. Yang Xinshin's behavior reminded him of his previous company, when his female boss and female colleagues often found various reasons to take advantage of him, and his face couldn't help but look a little depressed. Girls can't violate men at will just because the law doesn't restrict them too much. Oh, sorry. Yang Xinshin noticed that Su Xuan's expression was strange and quickly let go of Su Xuan's hand. In fact, she didn't want to be so proactive. Before getting on the bus, she made many plans in her mind to take down Su Xuan. It's like his IQ has soared to 250. But as soon as she got into the car and held Su Xuan's hand, she became obsessed and immediately forgot all the plans and the warnings from her best friends and became impatient. Yang Xinshin, hold on. The more active you are, the more passive you will become. In the end, everything was lost. Yang Xinshin quietly reminded herself in her heart and took a deep breath. He must capture Su Xuan. If he can succeed, he doesn't mind divorcing his current husband. She calculated the family's financial situation. Add up all your assets. It's not even enough to buy Su Xuan's car. Water flows to low places. People flow to higher places. I guess her current husband won't blame her. Su Xuan, I just wanted you to feel whether I have lost weight or not. Yang Xinshin closed her legs, put her hands on her knees, and said like a lady, I knew I could see you when I came to visit Teacher Wang this time, so I deliberately starved myself all night. When I weighed myself this morning, I found I had lost 2 kilograms. Oh. Su Xuan drove the car out of the parking lot. Do you think I've changed? Is he much older than he was in high school? Yang Xinshin leaned towards Su Xuan and raised her carefully made-up face. She narcissistically rated her appearance at 99.99 points. The result was unexpected. The car has reached the parking lot exit. Master, please pay the parking fee. Su Xuan rolled down the car window and said to the toll collector. Would you like cash or scan? Huh. As he spoke, the toll collector suddenly became surprised. Who are you? You are the courier who climbed a tall building to save people. He recognized Su Xuan coming. When he got up this morning, he watched the morning news, which showed the scene where Su Xuan climbed a tall building to save someone, as well as Su Zimo's interview with Su Xuan afterwards. It's not me, you may have recognized the wrong person. Su Xuan smiled. I won't admit my mistake. The old man sternly said, I have worked in parking lots for most of my life. I have seen all kinds of big actors, big singers, and big figures, but I have never seen anyone as handsome as you. No one would mistake you for someone else. Why, after doing such a positive thing, are you still afraid that others will recognize you? Hey! Su Xuan was helpless. You don't have to pay for parking. Let's go. The old man pressed the button readily, and the barrier rose immediately. Su Xuan insisted on giving the money, but the old man refused to take it. A car was already driving up from behind, so he drove away. Su Xuan, have you ever climbed a tall building to save someone? Yang Xinshin was surprised. I couldn't help but look at Su Xuan again. Handsome, rich, brave and loving. He has taken all the good qualities. This is so unfair. Why was I so stupid at the time? Why did I just write a love letter and then stop? Even if you take medicine. I also want to pour out Su Xuan's medicine. It's time to make it a done deal. There was an evil gleam in Yang Xinshin's eyes. Not worth mentioning. Su Xuan held the steering wheel and drove the car onto the highway back to the city with a calm expression. Yang Xinshin, Su Xuan, I always forgot to ask you, do you have a girlfriend? Su Xuan, there are several. Yang Xinshan, not just any friend, but that kind of friend. Su Xuan, why do you want to know? Yang Xinshan, I really want to pounce on you and possess you, is that okay? Of course, she didn't say this out loud, but just sighed in her heart. Hey! Yang Xinshan sighed suddenly, I don't have a boyfriend yet. Ever since I fell in love with you, I can no longer accept anyone else. Yang Xinshan's best friend, hey, Yang Xinshan, you can't do this. Your husband is waiting for you at home. Su Xuan glanced at Yang Xinshan's hand. The corners of his mouth moved slightly. Yang Xinshan was wearing a big, shiny diamond ring on her ring finger. Oh, this ring is something I bought myself. It's not a wedding ring. Yang Xinshan had been observing Su Xuan's expression and hurriedly took off the ring. I wear this ring just because I don't want other men to have any thoughts about me. Squeak! Su Xuan suddenly slammed on the brakes. He looked ahead and said. Something happened ahead.